Alright lads, welcome back to InsideMC, the podcast where I sit down with an amazing guest whenever I feel like it. There's not really a schedule anymore. It's kind of just when I invite them on and they come on, it's great. This week, I'm joined with someone very exciting. I mean, all the guests are incredibly exciting. However, this person stems a little bit further than your typical Minecraft guest because they are a Minecraft content creator. They also have a lot more going on in their life, which I'm interested to talk about. I'm joined with Cambam.
Hi Orbitzz, thank you very much for having me on. Obviously the most exciting moment, obviously, today. So thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
No worries, and it's a pleasure to have you on. Like I said, I am genuinely very excited. I know it's a Minecraft podcast and a Minecraft themed podcast, but I do always get that little extra bit of excitement when I have someone who comes on who can talk more than just Minecraft.
No, surely I'm not that exciting, but I appreciate you. I appreciate it so much anyway. I've been excited. I got very excited when you did invite me because I've been obviously like I float around on social media quite a lot, and I have seen InsideMC pop up like a fair amount as I've been scrolling, and it's been really awesome to see how well it's all sort of doing, and all the guests that you get on are such wonderful, talented people. So I'm just very honoured that you consider me part of that crop. So thank you so much.
You're amongst the greats. What can you say?
The titans of the industry, of course.
To be fair, I did when I won't leak what you said in the first message, but when I added you as a friend and I was like typing up this invite for you, and then you messaged me first, acknowledging that InsideMC exists, yeah. It did give me a bit of an ego boost, I'll be honest.
Well, no, it's always just something that I've done because obviously, like, you will have done a lot of your research as part of preparing for the podcast, but I've also done lots of research about you because obviously my background is in research and I love finding out as much as I can. So I've took a lot of time just to listen through some of the podcasts that you've done and some of the work that you've done, and it's very awesome to see. Actually, it's quite interesting that you do this because it was one of the things that I thought about when I started doing content. Actually, was doing stuff like interviews or doing like I don't know, some sort of like a Minecraft episodes where I invite a guest through and I like build lots of things, like talking about their lives and sort of walk them through a map and then sort of interview them as they go along. And I just think that, I don't know, we don't see enough of that in content creation. It's all about episodes and you know, standalone projects. And I think having something like a Minecraft podcast is genuinely so cool, and just exploring all these different topics and all these awesome creators that we get to see. I think this just gives it a different perspective, and it's not very common, and I commend you for that and the work that you do because it's really, really awesome.
I've my goal to try and kind of get InsideMC a little bit more out there, and I think it's been quite successful. It's kind of integrating I guess like your standard videos on the channel as well. So like I'll do the podcast, which we're doing now, and then so this will come out on Friday the 15th, so in 2 weeks now from the recording. However, on Monday the 4th was like a video that I've been working on, and it would have been out by now, so I can talk about it. It's like another MCSR video that's like I know is, and I'm really hoping, and I think it's going to do really, really well. So it's like it goes from that, and then like it kind of mixes in the podcast, and honestly, it's working quite well because when it was just podcast, it was great, and I loved it. Don't get me wrong, it's why I did for an entire year 2 a week. Because I enjoy talking to different people and hearing their stories. It's kind of the caption for a while, which was just meant to be more genuine, and I think people took it very genuine, which was nice. It's like giving a voice to the Minecraft community. Like they already have it, right? I mean, creators get to talk about what they want and everything. I kind of, obviously there's a rare occurrence where
it's different when you have it. Like, I don't know, the first time you meet a new content creator, right? And you do like projects, but you don't get into like, I don't know, deeper conversations, or it's sometimes very superficial because I don't know, like you're also talking in front of an audience like live, especially on like Twitch and things, and just having those, I don't know, conversations in a different format is really, really awesome. So I really like it. And it's funny that you bring up the MCSR stuff because I made a notes on my phone of the Orbitzz notes of things that I wanted to bring up to you like as we're going along, and the first thing that I saw was MCSR because I saw that you do a lot of like speedrunning and stuff, and like I'm interested as to how you got into it because MCSR, like I know it's been growing quite a lot in the last year or two, and like I don't know, I just haven't got that bug for it yet. So I'm actually interested to hear from you and see what you think about it, or like why you've gotten into it, and if you could sell it to me because I'd love to get into it. I don't know, I need to take like the next jump.
I do just want to clarify for the listener here that I will happily answer any questions that Cambam asks me, but I am meant to be interviewing.
I know, but I'm just really interested. No,
I'm more than happy. I mean, as long as I don't know how long you've got to do this podcast, but I'm more than happy to make this my longest podcast.
World for you today.
I am more than happy to make this my longest podcast. Yeah, I am happy to answer any questions questions you want, and you can answer any questions I want. Okay, cool.
All right. That sounds good.
So a lot of people don't know this about kind of me and my background, but I started off in the Bedrock community. Some of this you might know if you've like done your very, very extensive research. But I started off as a Bedrock content creator. I did quite well on just the Insane Orbitzz channel, and then I started my first job back in 2022. And the first thing I listened to, this will lead into MCSR, I promise. While there, I listened to. Have you ever heard of the YouTuber Jack, mate?
I haven't.
Okay, he's like an English YouTuber. I don't know how he is nowadays, but like back when I was 18, like he was just like this cocky content creator, and it's just something I liked, right? It wasn't really negative per se. It's just I don't know, I loved his podcast specifically. I used to listen to the Jack Mate Happy Hour while at work, 10-hour shifts, just listening to episodes, and it was great. And then during it I was like, what if I made my own podcast? Like I love talking. I've always loved, you know, my nickname in primary school was Chatterbox Charlie. I've always loved doing this. So why not, you know, kind of put that into practice and see if I can do it. So I started off the podcast on Bedrock Edition, and then took a big hiatus because I got a night shift job. I'll cut out this part, but I'm happy to tell you. The only reason, because obviously you can kind of link 2 and 2 together. If you know,
of course. No, that's fine.
So I moved to that, and then I did kind of content creation just stopped for 6 months. And then when I came back into it, I got into the Java community, and in the process, because of a content creator called Potato Pie, who doesn't really make content anymore, he started speedrunning. He was a Bedrock creator and a good friend of mine, and he started speedrunning. And then he kind of introduced me to like Coryway and stuff like that. And after that, I just got so into it. It was something that was just so fascinating to me, because anyone can do it, right? You can be like, SMP content creation is great, right? And I'd love to join an SMP one day. I'd love to do that. I mean, it'd take me a bit of practice because obviously I've never really done it before, but the concept of SMP is absolutely amazing. However, sometimes it can be a little bit restricting. Either if you get into an SMP and it's not like not to talk ill of other SMPs in general, but if it's not
name and shame.
Well, no, I'm not going to say name, but like if it's not like a reliable SMP, it's not going to last long. So you get into it, you kind of build a base, you get ready to role play, and then people just stop logging on after 2 weeks, right? And then to get into the actual story role playing SMPs, it's quite hard sometimes if like you're kind of not in that field, which is valid. People want to invite people they trust. The same with the podcast. I only like to invite people I trust to talk to, kind of thing.
Of course,
Whereas MCSR, and especially since the introduction of MCSR ranked, anybody can do it. You can be if you're in coal rank, you're in the worst ranks, you're coming up against people who are similar to your skill level. If you're averaging 30-minute times, you're coming up against people who are most likely averaging 30-minute times. Whereas if you're trying to be an SMP content creator, it's kind of hard to kind of get into, and even just practicing roleplay. Like, it's only really good to practice roleplay. This is from speaking from me here with other people. Like I kind of find it hard to just sit there in a silent room doing it by myself, whereas I know other people can. Whereas with MCSR, you can just keep playing it, and slowly over time you'll learn new things. So firstly, it's just easy content, realistically speaking. Like, it's just thing, and secondly, like, I don't know, I've tried streaming other games. Like MCC Island is great. I love MCC Island, and I've played other games, but I just can't.
I spent way too much time on MCC Island. That's for sure.
Well, I am always on a fair bit for the events that you're in. So
well, it's honestly, I can get the competitive element, you know, of MCSR, and I you know, really respect that as a, you know, a way to learn Minecraft. And it's why I've sort of really gotten into MCC. Obviously, like, Scott is my partner, and that has obviously introduced it to me a lot quicker. And I just really enjoy the competitive nature of it, and I think that's why I spend so much time on MCC Island. It's because I just really, I don't know, found such a huge passion for improving skills and just seeing, I don't know, the gradual improvements that you kind of have over time. And, you know, you mentioned like with the MCSR stuff, you have like the ranked based system. And it sort of reminds me growing up of like I played a lot of League of Legends growing up. And I know that that's not everyone's cup of tea, but I don't care. I'm proudly a huge fan of League of Legends.
Fair play.
But I sort of really enjoy the element of competition in that, and the, you know, climbing up, getting a different rank, and just seeing the gradual improvement and the gradual progress. And it's why I've been liking doing MCC a lot, because, you know, I started off probably not massively ready, because my first MCC that I did was at TwitchCon Rotterdam last year. I don't remember what the name of it was called. It was like Color the World, I think it was.
Yeah, it was Color the World.
And I wasn't actually meant to be on that team. It was meant to be Rendog that was on that team. But his passport was expiring and he wasn't allowed to travel to the Netherlands. And Scott decided the best person to put on that team with Ollie and Jim and Martin. Obviously, I'm good friends with all three of them. Was myself, and I really struggled just because when you start off in like MCC, the biggest thing that you sort of have challenges with is just knowing how the games work, like knowing the specific mechanics, the little intricacies, the little details is something that you really don't understand, and that's something I didn't really understand at all, and I didn't really have like an amazing sense of game mechanics and things like that. I remember when I started off doing SMP content, I was on the Christmas Vibes SMP that Jimmy Solidarity hosted back in 2024, I think it was, and I just remember people constantly sort of pranking me and beating me up, and I just couldn't do anything about it because I just wasn't I didn't have that skill set. And it was from that moment I was like, okay, you know what, I want to improve. And so I just started sort of logging on to MCC Island and giving that a whirl. And I've been really enjoying playing in the MCCs over the past year, just because it's a great community. I feel like it's just it's a competition, right? It's a huge Minecraft tournament and things like that, but even though people are obviously competitive, there's still that really friendly feel to MCC, the family sort of feel to it. Like every person that I've been on a team with has been so remarkably wonderful and kind, and whenever someone else does really well, like people in the chat always type, oh my god, Jojo, you did amazing there, or whatever, and I think that's a really, really encouraging feeling. So I don't know, just the gradual improvements of doing things like MCC I've just sort of really enjoyed over the past year or so, and I'm really excited for Project Glop in I don't know who came up with that name, probably people who organize MCC, but I'm excited to take part in that one. That'll be for sure. It'll be a great event, and hopefully we can get as many people in the audience as possible. It'll be great.
I mean, that's the thing, kind of linking it back into MCSR as well a little bit here, that I like about the MCSR community is like MCC has something special, and I think Scott has done an amazing job with the roster and whoever else helps invite people. They've kind of built a good community of, like you said there, when you do something good, people are supportive, and I feel like in events you don't really see that too much. Like
no, absolutely not.
In Cube the other day when I played in Cube Championships, there's someone called Jake Sohn, and he is amazing, right? He's one of the funniest people I know, for instance, and he's so bad at the game, so horrendously bad, and he wouldn't mind me saying this either, but during the event he was like dead last in the race game, and it always had every single thing is the exact same, like rings and roundabouts. No, it's not rings and roundabouts, is it? It's swings and roundabouts. I can't speak. Same swings and roundabouts, every single bloody thing, where he's always dead last, and he everyone watches him try and hit the Neo, right? And they all support a thing, and it's very rare I see that. Whereas with MCSR, I mean, yesterday from recording this podcast, I got a PB of a 12:02 time, and I just, so many people were thank you, and so many people were just so like hyped about it, and it's just nice. Like a lot of people don't know this, but like with kind of linking into what I said about being MCSR in the past, I had Oliver on the podcast for MCSR ranked like 3 years ago, back before like ranked was even like a popular thing. The only reason I didn't play it myself is because I could never set up Ninja Brain bot properly, and it never worked until recently. Now I've been able to get more into it because I can actually complete runs properly without breaking.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Well, see, I'll give it a go at some point though. I did look at your like Twitch and things to see like what you've been doing as well, and yeah, again, it's MCSR, and I should give it a go, and maybe we could battle against each other one day. That could be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, if you need a coach, I'd say a mid-offs coach that's actually like a mid-offs coach that fits the mid-offs rather than the coaching side, then I'm more than happy to.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the mid-offs live as well. Toby does a fantastic job with everything,
very fun,
all the organization, and it's awesome to like speak to the creators and things like when they're like preparing, because like say with Eloise, Super for Eloise, who I absolutely adore, she's such a wonderful human being, she was practicing like all the time for mid-offs, and it's very interesting because like Eloise like doesn't usually get like grindy or like that competitive and things like that, and it was just really, I don't know, it was really cool to see like her just like lock it in and see how well she did. I think she won one of her games, and then I think she played against False, I think it was, but she did such a good job, and I think they do such a good job with mid-offs, and I'm very excited to see that at TwitchCon too.
It's heartbreaking that I can't be there for the mid-offs finale.
How come why are you not there? Is that your panel?
That is the time of my panel, yes. Crashing right
See,
with the final of mid-offs, heartbroken.
No, I saw that. What is it? The non-competitive competitive format of Minecraft events.
Yes,
that what it's called?
that is the name. Yes.
Oh, excellent. I'm excited to hear about that. I've seen like the panel that's on there, and I think it's a great group of people, and I'd love to be able to choose. I've already got like so many of the different like Minecraft panels that they've got available like on my list that I want to go and see. Like I really want to go and see what is it? The one that Cherryfire is doing. I think Martin's like hosting it.
Yeah,
is
the artist one.
Like the artist one, yeah. Because I work with like lots of art. I've kind of like considered them like, I don't know, the Infinity Stones. Like I've been collecting all these like Minecraft related artists, and like I worked with such brilliant, talented people recently. Like Moonkachu, who did like the character concept art, is such an awesome person that could do stuff so quickly. Hoffen with like their amazing ability to do all of these amazing modelings. Like I've recently like been working with Neha, who does like the poster art. So I've been really like playing into that with my Twitch streams and things, like doing the charity stream. Tomorrow I'm going into at time recording, I'm going into a stream tomorrow where I'm doing drag as Chapel Roan with Stepho Sims.
Yes,
and they've done me a really awesome poster for that, and it's just been really awesome to work with all these brilliant people. And I'd love to learn from the artists and see what sort of things they want to see from creators, and what it's important to have a good professional relationship with all these people. So I really want to like learn about how I can make sure that we work well together, because like I have so much respect for all these wonderful artists. And I've got like a tab specifically for all the artists that I've worked with on my Twitch channel, because I just think it's really important to commission artists and work with such brilliant people. And there's so many talented people out there on in the Minecraft space, and if you need names, just go to my channel, because all of them are there.
I'm kind of similar but unsimilar here. I have an Excel spreadsheet of everyone who's come on the podcast. So
oh really?
Yeah, you'll be added to that after this podcast.
Oh, I'm delighted. I love an Excel spreadsheet.
No, I have seen the work you've done with artists, and it is like really cool.
Yeah, it's because it's stuff that I just can't do. Like I don't know if I could give you like some sort of example of drawing that I've done before, but like say at school, I did art for like a number of years because you had to do it for, I don't know, the school that I went to. I went to like, I did international baccalaureate, so like I didn't do like A levels or anything, because I used to live in the Netherlands growing up. So I was in the international baccalaureate system, and you had to do art for 4 years, and it was always my weakest subject, just because like I just never had the creative eye. My mum is a really talented like artist. She does like all sorts of really cool like watercolor stuff and like all these really awesome sketches, and I just never really that gene clearly wasn't passed on to me. So but it's something that I'd love to learn how to do. Like Scott can do art so well, and I don't get how he does it, but he's got like that creative eye, but I just don't. I've got a scientific eye, that's what I've got, but I just don't have the creative side, which is also kind of why I like doing content, because it's so different from the PhD work that I do, because like it's just a whole different skill set. It allows me to try and do different things, which I really like.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, you may not have an artistic eye, but you do have. Oh, you're getting a PhD at Cambridge, so I mean.
You've got the old C word there, but yes, I am. I'm in my 3rd year now, so feeling very depressed and alone all the time, and I feel like there's so much to do still, but getting there slowly, and I've been really enjoying the work that I've been doing so far for it, so it's been lots of fun there.
If you could choose, right, if you had to choose coming on the InsideMC podcast or getting a PhD, which one would you choose?
Oh, obviously coming on the InsideMC podcast, obviously, and that that wasn't part of the contract that you sent me, obviously, like I didn't have to specifically say that, but no, I certainly am glad to be doing it, because I've always had like a massive passion for research. It's actually kind of a weird story, like the way I kind of got to where I am, like because I originally started like in high school. I knew I wanted to go to university, but I wasn't exactly sure with what I wanted to do. So I started off doing English and sports science at Loughborough University, and first thing I always get told is what an interesting combination of subjects. English and sports science do not mesh well in the slightest, but I just sort of picked things that I enjoyed doing, and like I wasn't massively enjoying it like as I was going along. Like I thought I wanted to do like football coaching, because I'm super into football, and I have been since I was like 3 years old, and I really enjoyed doing coaching, because when I was 16, 17, 18 years old, I coached like a local team over in the Netherlands, and got to work with lots of really talented young people who were phenomenal at football, and also really good people too. And I really enjoyed that, and I really wanted to sort of chase that a little bit, and so I found like a good course that I wanted to go on, but it just, I don't know, there's just something about it just didn't really spark anything in me, which I think is fair enough. I think it's one of the biggest things about growing up is not necessarily knowing exactly what you want to do. So I just sort of picked things that I knew I liked, but I didn't when you write a personal statement, one of the biggest things that you kind of have to put in there is like, what you want to use the degree for. Why should they invest in you as like a student, and what you're going to use that degree for? And I think I put down like journalism or something like that when I applied, and I was kind of interested in doing maybe like sports journalism or something. Like I'm always on like BBC Football and reading all sorts of like articles that are put up on there, and I was super interested in that, but there just something wasn't sparky inside of me. And like it was in my second year, I think it was, that through my sports science side of the degree, I got an email from like a research group called the Structured Health Intervention for Truckers study, and it was basically this study that wanted to improve the well-being and the physical health of truck drivers through structured support, through education, and the whole idea is that we travel to all these DHL sites across the East Midlands area, and we gave a bunch of truck drivers health assessments. So we did things like a finger prick where we looked at their glucose levels to check like for diabetes and things. We did like coordination tests, classic things like BMI, all sorts of really cool measuring equipment. And the whole idea is that even though like as you can imagine, when we first go there and do like the opening data collection with them, their health is really terrible. Truck drivers, right? Like they're sitting in the cabin all day, they're not eating the best food. Like if they are, they're stopping at a service station and getting like fast food and things. And the whole idea was that after we did the health assessments, we kind of sat down with them, and we gave them like a booklet, and in that booklet it said kind of where their health is at and where it should be. So we did like, I don't know, blood pressure, and we showed them on like a chart, okay, this is where you should be, but this is where you are. And it was always really upsetting, that part of it, because like throughout the whole assessment they were always really excited because it was just something a little bit different from what they're used to, and they were getting involved in something unique. But then like when they're given the news that they had really bad health and things, that was the bit that I really hated. I hated giving that news because you could just see like their sort of sadness kind of creep over their face, and they kind of got a bit more serious. But the reason why I really liked it was that we would do 6-month follow-ups and 12-month follow-ups as part of the project. And when we came back, it was so interesting because we'd obviously have all the data from when we did like our initial collection with them. And then as we'd be doing the second health assessment, they'd just be like telling us all of these really cool things that they've been doing. Like, I don't know, like they've been taking more care of their sleep hygiene, or they've been going on walks, or they got like a mini fridge installed in their cabin so that they could bring sort of fresh food with them instead of having to stop at a service station kind of thing. Oh. And like, they'd be talking all about that, and they'd speak so like positively, and you could just genuinely see the warmth and the smiles in their faces and things like that, which was just so, I don't know, it's such a good feeling to see. And then obviously you'd give them their final health assessment, and like the results were like night and day. Like it was insane to see like over just that amount of time, just because our team went in, gave them information about themselves that they wouldn't usually get, and then give them that again later. It was amazing to see what that work did for people. And so I just kind of wanted to chase that feeling a little bit, and I like decided to do like public health masters at Newcastle University. It's where I'm from, up in Newcastle in the northeast. And I did a public health degree, and like part of my dissertation was working with young people to explore their views of like the COVID-19 vaccination. And it was just so different, like exploring these different fields and these different populations. And then I got a job doing work as part of a research consortium called Mobilized, which looked at mobility impairing conditions and how we can support people in understanding more about how conditions like Parkinson's, MS, COPD, and hip fractures can impact their day-to-day lives. And one of the biggest things with those kind of conditions is that they affect people so differently. So we want to try and change healthcare so it's a bit more tailored to individuals. And that's kind of where the PhD kind of came from, because it was an opportunity that was in breast cancer risk prediction. So all about finding people that are more at risk of developing breast cancer. And I've never been super interested in like specific diseases or anything like that. I just really enjoy being sort of a jack of all trades, a master of none. I just find it really rewarding seeing how different systems work and how different conditions affect different people. I just sort of like learning and always kind of have. And that is my long-winded explanation of how I am where I am now. But it's really awesome just to see how kind of life takes you in a certain way. Like I certainly wouldn't have expected to be doing this as I come out of high school, but I just sort of grabbed an opportunity that I kind of sounded like was a good fit for me, and it took me on this very interesting and long journey to where I am today.
You know what's really interesting, and I'm just only gonna pick on. I mean, all of it was incredibly interesting. But I want to pick on a specific part here because it's kind of contextual to my life.
Yeah.
When you talked about the truck driver part and the doing the tests and stuff like that, and you mentioned diabetes specifically. So I'm gonna go a little bit personal here and a little bit negative, and I don't know why I'm doing it, but we're doing it.
We're gonna do it.
October or November last year, my uncle in Ireland sadly passed away, and it's okay, it's fine. Like I don't like, you know, I was actually more annoyed because the day it happened, I was on my own at work, and so I have a rule with my mum: don't phone me when I'm at work unless it's incredibly important, right? That's a rule. So when she called me, I went, crap, I know something.
There must be something. Yeah.
So she called me, she told me what happened, it just passed, blah blah blah, and then like literally on my own at work, so I had to, and it was right at the start of the day. I found out I opened the shop at 7 a.m, found out at 7:30. This was an old job, and so anyways, long story short, they have to go to Ireland. Work made me feel really guilty for having to leave early and shut the shop early to go and walk the dog, which you know, after everything I did for it. Anyways, so to get to more into context here, he was a truck driver, and in Ireland they move really fast, right? If you die on a Tuesday, you're buried on a Saturday. That's why my mum and dad had to fly over so quickly, and they were doing like tests and stuff like that, and like 2 or 3 weeks ago we finally got the results back, and it turned out that he had, is it diabetes type 1?
Right. Oh, interesting.
I believe the one, diabetes type 1 is the one that can, like,
the less common one.
The less common one, that's the word. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So it turns out I think it was diabetes type 1 and he had something else with him, but my dad and my mom were kind of debating with themselves if he knew, and I said there's no way. I said if he knew, there's no way he could have hit it, because he lived with my nan, and he was basically her carer, her full-time carer, and I said there is no way, because she didn't know, and I said there is no way if he knew about that he was able to hide it from my nan, because that's just not something you can hide, right?
No,
if he knew, she would have known.
Especially just considering you're constantly having to do, like, you know, blood tests as you have you know, diabetes. You're constantly having to do like a finger prick and you know, checking where your levels are so you can have like your shot of insulin or whatever.
But there's a weird part to the story.
Interesting. Go on.
He passed in his sleep. So like I'm glad, I'm like, I know it sounds weird, but I'm glad that's the way it went, because you know
it's the most peaceful way, isn't it? Yeah.
But he had a doctor's appointment hospital appointment the day before. They ran some tests on him and he came back completely fine. So clearly they didn't test for that because they didn't think. But it's just interesting that you did, like you said, you did this whole kind of research on doing a test, and like you mentioned diabetes specifically, and like, you know, only 2 weeks ago I found out that my uncle had passed because of apparently that being one of the reasons for it happening. It's just really weird. It's just a weird, like,
it's high tangent, but it's funny how those things kind of link up. But yeah, it's
also for you to bring it up in the first place, right? Like it's a fascinating story, but like for you to go so into depth with it and it be linked to my life in the moment is so it's just interesting. That's kind of why
it's kind of like why I like talking about just all sorts of things like that, because you can just find connections with people by mentioning like something like that, and it's just, oh, I have like something like that going on in my life too, and it's a beautiful thing about talking to people, and it's why I like podcasts and listening to those kind of things, because you find all these weird connections between people, and you know, no matter how, you know, negative it can be, that, you know, those kind of experiences can bring people together. So sad, but also interesting.
No, trust me. Like, yeah. I mean, like I said, he wouldn't want me to be sad. Like, we got along so well to the point where, like, I know how he'd want me to feel, and that's why I didn't get sad. Like, obviously, my mum and my dad did, because it was a lot closer to him, because they'd fly over like a lot. Whereas, like, I was just more annoyed at work, which I think he would have respected, to be honest. So, you know, there's that.
For sure, yeah.
I guess I could take care on that. So, obviously, you mentioned about studying public health and primary care.
Oh, absolutely.
I guess just for the sake of it here, can you give us a little bit more explanation as to what that actually means?
Yeah, sure. So basically, my PhD is in the Department of Public Health and Primary Care over at the University of Cambridge. But basically, the tool that I'm kind of working on, because, you know, it says public health and primary care, but realistically, that doesn't really tell you a lot, because that could be quite a lot of different things. But basically, basically the tool that we've been developing in the department is called the canrisk tool. So CANRISK. And it's basically this online tool that they've developed that helps healthcare professionals, identify individuals that are more at risk of developing breast, ovarian, and prostate cancer. And that uses things like your cancer family history, genetic factors. So you give like a saliva sample and you send that in, and a number of other risk factors that you fill in on the form. So like, your height, your weight, things like that. And basically the whole idea is that you fill in that information all, on your own. You send that in to your doctor, who will then perform like the calculation in combination with all of the other things that you provided, like the saliva sample. And it'll tell you if you're at low risk, medium risk, or high risk of developing breast, ovarian, and prostate cancer. And obviously the whole idea behind that is that, breast cancer, if it's at, say, stage 3 or 4, is a lot less treatable, has a much higher mortality rate when it gets to that stage. So the idea is that if we can identify people that are more at risk earlier, then, they'll be in stage 1 or stage 2, where it's a lot less aggressive and, more importantly, a lot more treatable. And the whole idea is that we have developed the tool. So now we want to try and see how it works in practice. And that's kind of what all my PhD is about. It's about, working with members of the public in lots of different contexts. So those contexts are like, the general public. What happens if your everyday person comes on to use the tool, and how do they interact with it? How does it work in primary care? So when you go to like your doctor and see them just on, your day-to-day doctor, how does it work in that context? And then also in like clinical genetics. So say if you've got like a referral and you've got like some aggressive genes that, the BRCA genes in your system, how does the tool then work in that context? So it's all about, trying to improve the tool. There's lots of really awesome work that is being done in breast cancer risk prediction on being able to communicate results that work for people. And yeah, the whole PhD is basically just about exploring how we, communicate risk scores to people in a way that works for them, how they can get the most out of it, and how we can keep improving our systems. Because the whole idea is that we want it to be rolled out to the NHS and, eventually have global domination of canrisk, where everyone is able to be identified and we're able to help a lot of people across the world with their health. Because, cancer is something that affects a lot of people across the world. So we just want to try and do something that can help, identify it earlier and help people. And that's what I kind of love about it, is that it can make a big difference to people's lives and help them for the better, which I really, really love.
I tend not to, separate from the podcast here, I tend not to dwell too much into life. Otherwise, I'll go down this crazy rabbit hole of how the heck a car is made, right? Like, because it just drives me crazy. For the simple mind can't comprehend that something like this exists. So I guess it's going to be such a basic question, but we'll see how you can answer it.
No, of course.
How, less of the why, but I'm still going to ask anyways. How and why? Like, how did you come up with this? I guess, why did you come up with it? And not in the sense of what it's for, but more so like kind of linking with the how. Like, what kind of inspired this to be made, if that makes any sense. I told you it's going to be a bad question. I'm sorry.
No, of course. No, it's a good question, because I think basically one of the biggest challenges that, we have in medicine, like throughout the last few decades, has been we're very reactive, but we're not very proactive. And, the UK government and, public health bodies across the world are wanting to try and transition to a more sort of proactive than reactive, form of medicine. When you go to the doctor and you have to have like a triple heart bypass or whatever, that's a really expensive procedure. Or if you need to get like an MRI scan, very, very expensive procedure. It also takes a lot of time as well. When you go to your doctor and you need to book in an appointment and you need to, get seen by someone, you need to have all the equipment set up, you need to have the results all processed, then you've got to, do all this other medication. And, that is such an expensive and time-consuming process. Like, I hate going to the hospital. It's such a faff. Like, no one likes going to the doctor. Like, I can't imagine there's a lot of people that really enjoy it. But the whole idea is that, medicine needs to move to a more sort of proactive place where people can feel more in charge of their health. And that's why you see like all sorts of really cool, public health initiatives that go around. So I know that there's like that park run one that you kind of have like across the UK, where basically like lots of communities set up a park run where, like, I think it's on a Sunday, you do like a 5K run or whatever in a local field. And the whole idea is that it's just a very simple way to, reduce the chances of having cardiovascular diseases, just to stay a bit more active. But it has like so many more health benefits benefits. And the idea is that, you know, if we get some people to go to that, that is a massively reduced risk of them then having to go to the hospital and have all these other procedures because they've developed some kind of condition. So the whole idea behind it is that we want to have a tool that can help identify people that are, you know, more at risk so that they can be screened earlier. Because I think at the minute in the UK, you know, the guidelines say that you can only get screened at like age 45 or something. And obviously people can get diagnosed before that. So the whole idea is that if we can introduce a tool like this, find people a lot earlier in their life who are more at risk, then we can get them screened a lot earlier. And, you know, hopefully prevent breast cancers from ever developing and them having to go through all sorts of like horrible treatments and have to pay extortionate amounts of money to get, you know, treatments done and, you know, have to have a really poor quality of life because of it. So again, it's really just in line with how medicine is sort of developing as a whole. Like we're moving to a more, you know, as I said before, a more reactive to a proactive form of healthcare, which I think everyone needs to buy into because it's where the world is going.
I really like to do this thing where I somehow link to you, even though I'm not directly linked to it.
Please do.
I don't know how much of the podcast you've listened to, like straight up, but it happens quite a lot. I very big comparison here. I have IBS. So 3 years ago, it kind of started happening. It was self-inflicted, not intentionally. When I was working a night shift job, obviously dinner, I lived with my mum and dad, so they were making dinner at 6 p.m. wasn't getting home till 10 p.m. eat cold dinner. Before then I was hungry, so I was eating dinner at work, all that kind of jazz, and it just kind of added up, and then suddenly my stomach just like going really, really bad, and it's suddenly, I know why, but and then for the last 3 years I've been back and forth with the doctors, and I knew the answer from the get-go. I said my mum has IBS, my nan has IBS, my mum says I'm having the exact same symptoms as I do. All I want is this specific medicine. Told her from the get-go. That's all I want. It's just this one medicine. But obviously I understand why I could be chasing medicine. Don't know why I'd be chasing this medicine specifically, but I could be chasing medicine. That's valid. So we went through all the process. Then they did this test, and then they tried to do my diet. Then they gave me things because I've always been quite low on vitamin D, I think it is. They gave me vitamin D medicine because my bloods came back that I was low on vitamin D and iron deficient. I was like, yes, but that's not the problem. Like that might be happening, but that's not what I'm looking for. Then blah, 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 blah. And then last year in August, I had a colonoscopy, and then a month later I had a stomach scan. Both came back completely fine. I don't know if you've ever had a colonoscopy or talked to anyone who does. It's quite painful. For some context here, everyone who has one, they tend to take the medicine to numb themselves, right? So they don't feel it. They do it, and then they have to stay in the hospital for like a few hours afterwards, eat, drink, and then they can leave. They can't drive. Me, I decided to take no medicine. Didn't want any medicine. My mum my mum told me, again, I share symptoms to my mum, so she said, trust me, don't take medicine. I said, fine. Didn't take any medicine. The worst amount of pain is what I feel on a daily basis, or felt on a daily basis.
No.
So it was just, they said like, is this painful? And I said, yes. They said, do you want the medicine? Because I had it in my arm just in case. They said, do you want to be done? I said, no. I said, this is normal. They said, what? And I said, this is literally just normal pain I go through. Then I came back here. So then I checked my NHS app because I hadn't heard anything. And I was like, this is weird. So I checked my NHS app about like 3 weeks ago. I had been referred back to my doctors to treat for IBS, and they hadn't reached out to me at all.
Of course.
And I understand that it's like it was in small writing at the bottom of letters. So it's really easy to I understand that. So I called my doctors up, blah blah blah. I went to see this one doctor and I said, look, can you just give me this medicine? It's Mebevrin. Can you just give me Mebevrin? He said, no, we want to try diet. I said, I've already seen a dietitian. I've already fixed my diet. I am still in pain, right? I am every single day. I am in pain. I said, please just give me thing. And then eventually he just said, fine, if you want it, I'll just prescribe it to you. So he just gave it to me, and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like you just giving it to me, right? So then I went out and I like booked in to see a new doctor, and I went and saw the other doctor who I saw like months ago, and she made progress. And she then I was like, yeah, give it a try. Ever since then, for like the last 3 weeks, I mean, I still like, you know, it still hasn't fixed the problem fully. I have not been in pain at all since taking a medicine.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that though, because IBS is such a horrible condition, right? Like so many people have IBS and probably don't even realize it, and it can have such a huge impact on your daily quality of life and just how much you enjoy the world. And yeah, it's such a horrible condition, especially because like the medicine for it as well. Like it's interesting that you were like, you know, talking about how, you know, you asked for a specific thing or whatever, because like one of the biggest things is that doctors don't always know specifically what works for you. It's like I have really bad anxiety, for example, but it took me like 3 or 4 different types of medication before they found something that actually worked for me. And it's such a lengthy process, and it's one of the biggest problems I think with medicine is that, you know, every person is so unique and different. And it's also another thing that, you know, medicine's moving towards is a more personalized form of care. And, you know, one of the biggest things that people have is that, say, one type of medicine might not work for them, and, you know, they need something that's completely rare, but they just have no idea what that is. And sometimes doctors don't even know what that is. And so I could totally sympathize with what you're going through there. It's horrible, not fun at all.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, exactly. I think it's okay. Like I'm glad I finally have it. My point was more there, kind of linking to what you said about the whole like healthcare thing, and how how you can kind of have to constantly go through hoops. Like they said, we wanted a test to make sure you didn't have anything else before treating you for IBS, which I think is valid. I appreciate that, but at the same time, I'm telling you what the problem is. I understand I'm not the doctor, but I know, like, again, my mom turned around and said you're literally acting the exact same way I acted. So I know for well, but it's okay. Like I'm taking medicine now. It hasn't fixed the problem fully, but again, like I feel better, and that's all that matters.
I think it's also like you mentioned about the diet thing as well. This is where my research of you comes up as well, because I have exactly the same sort of thing that I was having, because I was having like stomach things as well because I wasn't eating at regular times. I understand, I might be wrong, that you work as a barista.
You would be right.
Or in hospitality in some description.
You would be right.
Yeah.
If I didn't change jobs back in December.
No. Okay. Well.
Okay. No, but you are by means of the podcast and what I've said on the podcast. You're correct. I just haven't really recorded many podcasts since to talk about changing jobs.
Yeah, sure. So, no, sure. But yeah, because I worked in hospitality. Like, I think it's one of the biggest things that I think that everyone should do, because it is such hard work, isn't it, man? Like I like worked as like a barista. I worked as a waiter in so many different like hospitality roles. I did like event coordination for a year, like during my degree, because I thought I was like kind of wanting to do events, which I ended up hating, but that's besides the point. But like I found it like when I was like doing hospitality, because like you have to serve during like quote unquote dinner time for people or whatever, like your body clock and your body just is so thrown by having to do that, and being able to eat like at regular hours is so difficult when you're in hospitality. Like I love it. I loved hospitality. It was good fun. I know that not I know that not everyone shares that sentiment, but it just, I don't know, I just kind of like the idea that I could like, I know there was people that would come into like the pub that I worked at like quite regularly, and we kind of build relationships from that. And you know, sometimes you had like the odd ball that would, you know, be awful to you or whatever, which wasn't as fun. But I don't know, the positives outweigh the negatives from working in hospitality. I'm sure that you don't agree, but I enjoyed it.
So working as a barista, it wasn't too bad, because like, see, the thing is, it was kind of a case of like, because I was more busy, it was kind of harder for me to get stomachache. So like I kind of hopped around for like a good 2 years. I couldn't really settle anywhere, to be honest, and then that's took me 2 years to realize barista probably isn't my calling. So like, but at the busier jobs, I realized I had less stomach aches, because I was like, one of the jobs I was there for like a year and a half, and I wish I never left it. I only left because of the manager, who's now gone, which kind of sucks. But I was working Monday to Friday. Earliest start was 7, latest finish was 5. Bank holidays off. It was like pretty much the perfect like job for, you know, I guess content creation. And so like, because that job was constantly so busy, I didn't really have time to think about having a stomachache. Whereas like when I moved to like another job, it was a lot more quieter, and another job that was also a lot more quieter. So that's when it kind of developed more. And then where I'm working now is it's still kind of hospitality, but it's like working in it's retail, but for like a specific company. It's like I only serve people who work for the company basically. And and I had a health check. I can't remember the name of it, the specific word for it. And basically where like the doctor's hospital called me, asked what was up, and then they kind of feedback to work. So I had my like healthcare checkup like with my manager. We had like a little talk, and it's kind of nice because so where I'm working out, breaks are flexible. So every time I was a barista, you had to take breaks at like specific times. And a lot of times you're just kind of on your own. Whereas where I am now, because it's just retail and it's only Sony's company, I can kind of just disappear for like 10 minutes if I need to, and it won't really cause any problems. Obviously, so I'm constantly doing it, and it's a bit of an issue. But so it's a lot nicer now, because they turn around and when like if you need to go to the toilet, just go whenever you need to. And obviously I don't take the piss with it. Like I'm fairly reasonable, but
well, you kind of need to take the piss with it when you go to the toilet.
Fair enough. You know what I mean. But funny enough, I have a really fun customer interaction today. If you want to hear it.
Yeah, go on. I love a customer interaction.
I have loads of stories which we could be here for the entire podcast talking about.
I feel like I could do that as well. I just have so many random niche weird stories that I've had. Go on, you tell one and I'll tell one. How about that?
Let me have two. Let me talk about today's one. Let me tell you another story.
Yeah,
we'll take turns. We'll take turns. Okay, so me first. Right. So this is one of my favorite interactions with a customer I ever have at any job. Whenever this happens, it's bloody amazing, right? So where I work, I either work from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. or I work from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. So we
very normal hours, obviously.
Very normal hours. So we start at 5, we open at 6. I open up at 6 and they're all clamoring to come through the door, right? Which is fine because they want their stuff before work or after work or whatever they're doing. And so it's like 6:05 and they're my third customer. So this guy comes up to the till and I'm like, hi, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the bill's like £5, right? So he's got his friend standing behind him, not buying anything, but he's like proper cocky, like kind of just standing around. I'm doing the poses if you can see me. He's like standing around, like smacking his lips with his tongue, like proper like big I am, right?
Yeah.
So like £5.
I know the type. I know them.
So the guy pulls out his phone, goes to pay with card. This other guy walks up behind him, taps his card on the card reader, right, for him. I sit there waiting. Card declines. I burst into laughter. If it was a common thing of like, oh, let me get that for you, and the card declines, that's completely fine. That's okay. Like I wouldn't laugh. But it was the acting cocky. It was like the thing. He like taps the card reader, leans back like, yeah, I got you covered, man. There's £5 on me. Oh man, neither of them found it amusing, but I could not stop laughing. It's 6:05 in the morning. I woke up at 4:30. I'm awake now at 7 p.m. doing a podcast. I've talked to so many people today, but at 6:05 I have burst into laughter at the idea of this guy like thinking he's the big I am by paying for someone else's thing just for it to get declined. It was fucking amazing.
That's brilliant. I love that. That's fantastic.
Your turn.
All right.
I'll do one more and you do one more.
I don't know if I have many, like, I don't know, like, I kind of think of, like, just weird interactions that I've had, like, awkward people that just say all sorts of weird things. Like, I remember, like, a guy coming up to me, like, in a thick Geordie accent, and I'm really bad at doing accents, but I'll give it a go. But he, like, comes up and says, like, my wife is absolutely starving, and you've only put 2 really thin slices of beef on her plate. So that kind of went into Scottish a little bit there. But, like, it was just, like, he was like squaring up to me. Like we did like a Sunday lunch service, and he like genuinely his wife had like 2 decent like cuts of beef on like her plate or whatever, and he like squares up to me, like he's so close, like he's genuinely, it was like he was about to kiss me, and he was like a giant, like must have been like in his 50s or whatever, like fully bald or whatever, and he just like squares up I have like all sorts of weird interactions like that. I remember when I was working in event coordination in London, different kind of energy, but like you got to meet all sorts of really interesting characters and things, and like obviously you'd have like the odd celebrity, because like I worked in what's it called, there was a company called Peyton Events at the time. I think they've rebranded since, but they did like events at like the National Gallery, the Royal Academy of Arts, like all these really high-end like venues in London. And I just remember like I was like pottering around in like the back rooms, like because like you know, it's where we had like our storage for our drinks and like things, and like the equipment that we used. And I remember just like doing some bits, and then like this woman comes like, and like, you know, her heels like clacking on the floor. I can't do the clacking noise of heels, but either way, imagine there happened, like maybe you could edit in some heels clacking on the floor or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's good. Excellent. And it's like comes some like, oh, is it this way through into the galleries? And I'm like, oh yeah, if you just walk through there, like you just go to the security guard, whatever, he'll sort you out. And he's like, all right, thanks, babe. And I recognize the one. I'm like, who is that? Like, why do I not know who that is? And my colleague comes up behind me, and he just suddenly goes, was that Victoria Beckham? And then sure enough, that's when it clocks in that Victoria Beckham just came in, clacking her heels, and she called me babe. So, you know, watch out, David, because clearly Cambam is here to steal your girl, obviously. But yeah, it was just all sorts of really interesting stories that you kind of get from hospitality. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know if I have very many exciting ones. Just like there's just like the odd pill that just sort of comes through there, and you know, it's like, a fun
I'm split between 3 of what I tell you. Crap. Okay, I can do a rapid roundup of all three. I know I said only one, but I'll do all three.
No, go on.
Okay, so from the night shift job, the first one as a barista, like working till late, double whammy here. First one, I served Jermaine Defoe, which was really cool. As a football fan, I served.
I know you're a football fan, and that's one of the other things that I had in my notes because I looked through your Twitter and I saw some things that you'd been retweeting. Are you a Spurs fan?
No.
Oh, I saw you retweeting a Tottenham thing. Who are you a fan of?
I'll tell you in a second. Wait, I don't want to mix stories here. Let me quickly tell you.
I'm interrupting the flow. Sorry, go on.
You're good. I just wanted to go all over the place. The podcast is like, oh my god, let's see these interactions, and all of a sudden we're talking about Spurs.
No, go on.
No, so I served Jermaine Defoe, and so where I worked, I served like a lot of people. I served Charlie Sloth, Jermaine Defoe, the guy. I think he might be bad now. I don't know. The main character from Top Boy.
I don't know what that is, but sure.
Served Els the Witch, which is cool. A YouTuber Els the Witch.
Cool.
Anyways, so I served Jermaine Defoe, and like I remember one of my colleagues, like I follow football, and we'll get into this more in a second. I'm not like a crazy big fan, but so I really wanted a picture with him, but I was like, crap, like I was team leader, I couldn't leave the coffee shop, so it was only me and my other colleague. He's like, I really want a picture. The other guy was like, I really want a picture with him. So I was like, only one of us can go because we can't both go up and bother him. Like you
can go on. It's Jermaine Defoe.
But remember where I work. Remember where I work. I don't want to bother someone in that scenario.
No, of course.
So I let him go and get the picture, and then I got like a picture of the other people. So that's one. Another one, linking into that, is when I was at another job, which was just in central London. I used to serve this YouTuber. I'll say his name to you because
I'm scared. You
probably don't know him. You probably
go on.
I'm trying to find it now. I'm gonna mute it for the podcast, but I will find it here.
One of the things that I kind of have with just general YouTube is that I have absolutely no idea who anyone is. And like before I met Scott, like it's one of the, maybe we could save it till afterwards, but like before I met Scott, I genuinely Minecraft YouTubers and that whole world did not exist for me. I had absolutely no idea. It was only because I saw like the passion that Scott had for it. I was like, okay, you know what, I'll give it a go and see what happens, and then got to enjoy it. And you know, I feel like I'm a very sort of extroverted person. I enjoy yapping and chatting to people, so it kind of just fit in really, really well.
Well, that's crazy.
Anyway, go on.
You're good.
He's the YouTuber.
The YouTuber, and will be muted on the podcast, is named.
I have no idea who that
they
is.
have over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, anyways. And he was a regular in the coffee shop, and I remember he came in one day, and I didn't know who he was. And like he said he was talking about YouTube content. I went, oh yeah, I do YouTube, and like it's kind of a wholesome interaction, but also at the same time I'm like I was like, I do, and I told him about the podcast because I never tell anyone about the podcast because this guy's a YouTuber. If I tell him, it's like, oh yeah, well if you ever need any advice, let me know. And I was like, no, thank you, I appreciate that, but also at the same time, you're not actually going to give it. Like you're nice, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to give me advice because you come in, you buy a coffee, you go. You don't
one of those casual things.
Yeah, you don't want like I wouldn't want to chat to me. Like I'm just your barista. I'm just
Hey, that's where you're wrong. Everyone wants to chat to you.
Well, he was always in a rush because he was always going. He always stopped him before he was going to record a video because he does IRL content. So it was just funny. Like I was like, well, if you knew who I had on the podcast, then maybe I wouldn't need it. But but so there's that, and then the third thing was just this guy used to come in every single week when I worked at back to the night shift job, the original one, and he was only came on Fridays, and every single time we used to sell these chicken wraps that would always sell out before he got there. And he used to love them. So I started holding a chicken wrap behind the till in the fridge behind the till for him to come in because he's got along really well. He had a daughter who was at the time like 4. I remember he bought like this pink bike for her to take home and all that kind of jazz. And then one week he just stopped coming. He was gone for like a month. I was saving his chicken wrap for him. I mean, if he didn't have it, I was just gonna eat it anyway, so it didn't really matter. And then like he comes in one week, I'm like, where did you go? He's like, oh, the job location changed. I said, what? He said, yeah, so like we just don't need to come to this area anymore. I was like, oh, this is so because it was so sad because like I'd become like, I know it sounds weird to say, but I'd almost become like friends with him. Like he'd tell me about his life, I'd tell him about my life. We'd catch up on each other for that week. And he was a regular, but he only came in once a week. It was insane.
It's one of the sad things about hospitality that you do kind of like, there was like this couple that we would always serve at the pub that I worked in, and they always had like a dog, and we had like a little like thing of treats that we would keep behind the bar, and that was really the only dog that we'd ever give the treats to. And then just like one day they came in and said, oh yeah, we're moving like to Lincoln or whatever. We're like, what do you mean you're moving to Lincoln? that's really far away. That means you're not going to be able to come in every Saturday. What do you mean? And like, I'm a massive like creature of habit. Like I really enjoy like a routine and like I've gotten super into like going for a walk to go get like a sandwich from a Tesco Express like every day because I just like enjoy doing that, routine and habits and things like that. And just I don't know, it feels weird when you lose like a client in hospitality because you do. It's just when people come into your life for a little bit and then they just sort of disappear all of a sudden. You can't really do anything about it because it's not the relationship that you really have with them, and very, very hard and weird. So yeah.
Have you ever had a regular that you absolutely despise?
Yes, absolutely. There was this,
worst
oh my God, there was
the
just this
worst
one
thing.
guy that was always just that he was always just so rude. Like everything that he said was just like mean. I remember one time like he came in with like his partner and like they were both like having a drink in like the bar area or whatever, and he was like having a pint and like basically like he had like half of his pint or whatever, but the woman had finished her drink or whatever. I go over to the table, I was like, oh, can I get you another drink? And the guy just interrupts and says, oh no, I'm still drinking. It's like, I wasn't really talking to you here, and I already don't really like you. But it was just things like that, little quips and things that they did, which were just a little bit rude. Like there's always some issue with their food or whatever that they just wanted to say, or like they get annoyed if we take off like a menu item because we were quite a seasonal restaurant and things. And it was just, there was just always someone that was just pain, honestly. Those are the people I don't miss. I like the ones that I get on with and I have bits with, but not those people, that's for sure.
There's a lot of customers who I've had, like, I mean, again, I'm not very fond of people, which is ironic considering InsideMC.
No, I get that totally.
But I had a lot of customers who I didn't like in regulars, and like this one guy used to come in with his wife, his dog, because it was like a dog calf, his wife and his child, and they'd always, without fail, make a mess. And I knew it. Like I'd give him a croissant on a plate for his child, and he'd take the croissant off the plate and put it on the
Croissants
table.
are the messiest thing in the world as well.
It's on a plate where it's not going to cause a mess, and you just put it on the table, and then he'd leave and he'd be like, "Oh, I've made a mess," and it's like, you know what you're doing, Anyways, there's this one lady who came in, and like I feel really bad because I shouldn't have not liked her. She didn't do anything wrong.
No, sure.
But it was what she did that made me not like her. Context here. So she ordered a really complicated, it wasn't really complicated, it was just really annoying. She'd order an iced matcha, right, with half almond milk, half coconut milk, which isn't a big deal, but it's the time of day she'd come in.
Big deal. I think that's insane. What do you mean? That's awful.
It's annoying, but at the same time, it's like if she came in when it was quiet, because this cafe was really quiet. If she came in when it was quiet, it wouldn't be a big deal. But again, this part isn't her fault, and this is why I shouldn't have annoyed her. She'd always come in when it's busy, right? Because she didn't live in the area she was passing, but she'd always just, the time she passed. And then, like, so because I wanted to minimize our interaction with her, because like she talks like, when you can tell someone's being like fake positive because you're being fake positive yourself. Was her. I could just sense it. I could just tell with her that she was doing that. So I'm like, so she's being thingy. I'm like, I want to minimize this conversation as much as I can, right? And I think she realized because as soon as I basically have her drink ready, once I saw her walk into the cafe, I'd make her drink and she'd be gone, right? Barely have to talk, pay for your drink, go. What she'd do was she would start hitting me with random, I actually want it hot today, and so I'd have to steam up an almond milk and a coconut milk separately, and because you can't use the same jug because of allergen. And then I was just like, it's busy, and now I have to steam up 2 different milks, and it's like because she realized I was pre-making her drinks, so I didn't have to talk to her, which again is bad, but like it's like, this is painful. But like she was like a lovely, I feel like she was a lovely lady, like, it's just poor coincidence, I guess, or like poor timing.
I get that, dude.
What was this about football you wanted to go into?
Oh, well, nothing. I was looking at tweets because I think I don't know. It was some tweet that you retweeted, and it was something to do with Spurs anyway.
Did I?
But I don't know. It was something I was scrolling and I saw Spurs. I don't know. I feel like everyone's talking about Spurs at the minute because they're basically going to get relegated, which is very exciting. And I'm very much looking forward to that. But I don't know what it was. I just saw something Spurs related, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to bring this up." But okay, so you're not a Spurs fan. Who are you a fan of?
So okay, it's a very long story, but I'll shorten it down. Sorry, you said you have all the time in the world for me.
No, I have all the time in the world. Yeah, go on.
So my parents didn't support football. They don't support football. So obviously, with no parents supporting football, it's a lot harder to get into football because they refused to take me into games, which is completely valid. They just didn't like it. So I didn't get any of that. Whereas my uncle, he used to live up in Manchester, and then when he came back down to London. He kind of got me to United when I was little, but then he was like more of a
you're a Man United fan, aren't you? They're always Man United.
You gotta let
fans.
me finish, Cambam. You gotta let me finish. Trust me. It gets worse. So he was like a regional supporter. So because he liked going to games, when he moved back down to London, he still supported Manchester United, but at the same time, because he could never go to games because it's just so expensive, you know, traveling England. He became an Arsenal supporter because he lives quite close to the Arsenal stadium, which I know is quite the switch.
You're not an Arsenal fan.
Let me finish, Cambam.
Okay, God. Yeah, sorry.
So I grew up Manchester United, but obviously my parents didn't think. So back in 2016, my dad, he's still friends with this guy. He was a West Ham supporter, so he took me to a West Ham game, and that was the first game I ever went to, right? And as you know, my rough location, because I dox myself to other
you dox yourself, good.
Which is very safe to do on the internet.
Yes,
please don't do that if you're listening. Do not dox yourself to random people, especially content creators.
Go on.
So I kind of just, once I got to 18 and I started working and stuff like that, I could go to more games. So I started going to some West Ham games, and I thought I supported them for a while, and then I realized, you know what? I just enjoy watching football. I don't really support a team.
Oh, you're one of them. But
I do have my biases. So I have a friend, an old neighbor of mine, who he's like, he can get tickets to Arsenal games, like not consistent, but he can. And he got me tickets to Arsenal versus Newcastle in, like, I think it was the FA Cup or whatever, last 2 seasons ago. And obviously I was rooting for Newcastle because I just don't like Arsenal. But I was there. And then he got tickets for the Arsenal versus Manchester United game, and I was sitting in the home end, right, wearing an Arsenal jersey because I had to blend in. And I'm supporting Manchester United, so we're screaming, like when it went to penalties and Manchester United won, it was like the best thing that happened to me, because he knows I grew up a United fan. I'm sitting there like, and this guy next to me, he's standing there next to me, he's like, this is like, it's never a penalty. I went, no, it's not a penalty. It's pathetic. And deep down, I'm like, yes.
I had that as well. Like, I had that actually with a Man United game, because my dad is a Man United fan because he grew up in Aberdeen. And obviously Aberdeen had Sir Alex Ferguson as their manager, who led them to massive success, which is unheard of really for a club like Aberdeen. But obviously he left Aberdeen to go to Manchester United, so you often find it that people in Aberdeen tend to support Man United for that reason. And I think it was 2 years ago, we decided that we wanted to go to a game together, and that game just happened to be Man United against Newcastle, and we were sat in the Man United end, and it was the Carabao Cup, I think it was, and we as Newcastle won 3-0, and I just remember just like celebrating, but then also not celebrating, and it's a very, very hard thing to do.
So you're a Newcastle fan?
I was born in Newcastle, and I grew up in Newcastle until we moved abroad, so like I've always had a soft spot for Newcastle.
I have a soft spot for a team.
I've had, I don't like the way you said those words. Go on, what is it?
If I had to choose a team, and only because I've been to their games and I do genuinely enjoy watching them, Nottingham Forest. I like
Nottingham Forest. Like I've
been to a few games. I went to their last Europa game against Porto. AJX got me tickets.
All right.
So yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I've always had like a soft spot for Nottingham Forest, just with the history of that club as well. Like I've got, like, I don't know if you know Freddie Badlin or Heike Hate Me Ollie. Like they're both Nottingham Forest fans. So like we're always chatting about. I like having people like in content creation that do enjoy football a lot. So say like Callum CPK is a Man United fan, and I know that he's a Man United fan, and like we were up having like a Christmas do up in Sheffield, and I just remember it was the day that I think it was City were playing Man United, and like City were winning like 1-0 up until like the 90th minute, and then Man United turned it around to win 2-1. I think it was like last year or whatever. I just remember how happy he was, and it's just amazing to see how joyful people like get about football, even though it's like not their main thing or whatever. But like I've just always had like Scott says it, that my day, like you can always tell that like if Newcastle have played, because I'm either really happy or really sad in the evening, because well I just get so dictated, and my life circles around football so much.
It's the same with AJX. It's so funny.
Yeah, go on.
No, you go first. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please, you go.
Okay, if you insist. So yeah, so I don't go to games often because obviously going up to Nottingham can be quite pricey, and plus I have to take 2 days off work because I stay at AJ's overnight and then come back home the next day.
Of course,
but when I went to that, I wanted to go to the game yesterday against Aston Villa, but it was just I could have went probably, but I had other commitments yesterday, sadly. But when I went to the Porto game, I can say I'll send you the video now while we're on the podcast. I'm not going to show it on the podcast itself, but I realized I do a lot of this, like, oh great, look at this, but actually you listener don't get to see it. So I'm waiting for
sorry listeners. Get interviewed much.
Getting to Nottingham was like a lot cheaper if I got it at 2 p.m, but the game wasn't until like 8. So AJ was working that day and then coming to the game afterwards. So I kind of just had to rock around Nottingham myself. So I was sitting there for ages waiting by the thing. I really needed the toilet. So I'm like walking, and you see here, if you watch the video, I get caught here. To my left, there is a little golf club thing, and I went in there and I went to go to the toilet. I was wearing my Nottingham Forest jersey, so they knew I was like a Nottingham fan. I walked in, and if they hadn't said anything to me, I would have just went to the toilet, left, and made my way. But then they stopped me and went, "You alright?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm just going to use the toilet." And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And so I was like, "Crap, now I feel weird." So I literally went to the bar, said, "Can I get a Guinness?" They poured me a Guinness. I downed it and just walked out. Right? It was like I was in there for maybe 15 seconds. I just drunk it, walked out. That was it. And then so I sent the video
toilet again.
No, I actually didn't need to, which was quite. Oh no, I did. So I sent the video to Ollie Hikey Hate Me because obviously I know he's a Forest fan. And he was like, "Oh wow, like we're stuck in traffic." And I went, "Wait, you're coming to the game?" And he went, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, like do you want to meet up beforehand?" Because the only ever time we really get to talk to, we talk to each other sometimes. I'm not gonna be parasocial and say we're like best of friends.
No, sure,
but we talk more like at TwitchCon and stuff like that. And so we met before the game and we just had this whole chat, and like obviously AJX being a massive, like if you ever wanted to talk football with someone, he's so good to talk football with. He's like obviously a massive Forest fan, so I like talking about Forest, and then I'm just like sitting there like talking a little bit, and I'm like, "So are you going to TwitchCon, Ollie?" Like I know he is, but like, "Are you going to?" And then we just get talking about TwitchCon because I wanted to be involved in the discussion. So we're standing outside the thing like 5 minutes before the game's gonna start. He's ditched his like dad and his brother or whoever he's gone with, and then we're there and we're like, "Oh," and then he goes, and then like I know AJ was like messaging him afterwards about it. But it's funny that you talk about CPK and the thing, because during TwitchCon 2024, the unofficial MCC after party happened at the same place it happened last year, but like more people kind of knew about it. And on that exact same day, England was playing someone in the, was it World Cup or Euros at that time? It was something, a national tournament.
Would have been the Euros.
Yeah, and we're all sitting there in this like thing. I'm assuming you went to that place last year, so you know where I'm on about.
I know.
We're all sitting there, right, at the bar getting drinks, and then Bellingham scores an overhead kick, and like
I remember it well.
And all of us Minecraft YouTubers and content creators are just sitting there screaming in a different country, screaming at the screen because England have just scored to win the game. And it's like one of my favorite memories because like Callum was there, a bunch of other people were there. It was just such a nice environment to be in, like surrounded by football fans who also share the same interests of Minecraft with you. It was so cool.
No, I know. That's what I love about it. Like we were talking about it with TwitchCon coming up. Because Jim is an Arsenal fan, loves Arsenal. He's obviously very excited because they're in the Champions League semi-final. And I believe that if Arsenal got to the Champions League final, it's on the Saturday of TwitchCon. So we've already, both of us have said, right, if Arsenal get to the final, sod any Twitch party or whatever that's going on, screw all these people that we never get to see. We are going to a football pub and we are going to go and watch the final.
Which
we don't care what's going on. We are just wanting to do that together, and I'm very excited about the prospect of doing that. So I'm rooting for Arsenal because I kind of just want to hang with Jim and watch the football together.
That would be quite fun, yeah. I mean, there's also something else football related happening at TwitchCon, no?
There is, although technically not massive public information, but it's fine because like we're going to reveal it anyway. No, it's I'm very excited to announce it because
surely it'd be announced by now, right? This podcast is coming out like 2 weeks before it's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It will definitely up by then. But basically, I am hosting the Creator Cup, which is basically a football event that's taking part at TwitchCon Rotterdam. takes like place in every single like TwitchCon. Basically, the day after, there's like a bunch of creators that will come together and they play a football game together. And I've been part of the one at San Diego in October. Whenever San Diego was, it feels like forever ago. But there was also a game that was put on by Fulham and Acco last year, which was a great watch. I was in the audience. I was like, damn, why didn't I not sign up to this? I would have loved to have played football today. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take the reins. So me and Acco are working together to put it all together. And we'll have, the team announcements and all that jazz coming through. We've had great support actually from everyone that's been involved in the whole production. We've got a great team all together. So it's been me, Acco, Erin, who does the production with Tubbo. Fulham, of course, is part of the team. Grian's been helping identify pictures. And Toby's dad, Lee, has been really helpful in getting like the shirts put together. It's been a massive effort from everyone. And I'm genuinely so excited for it. I'm really hoping it'll be a good, fun event. And that'll be broadcast to my stream, Fulham stream, and Acco's stream on Twitch on the 1st of June at 12 o'clock European time, or Central European time, whatever the Dutch one is. 11 p.m. British summertime is when the football game is going to be. But I'm very excited about it. It's been a lot of work, like finding the pictures and getting everything put together. And it's really nice to see like so many people passionate about football in the space as well. Because I just think it's so different from what we all sort of usually do with Minecraft, and I love it a lot. So it'll be really fun to take part in that, and hopefully we can get a good turnout, and hopefully as many people can get involved in the chats and things and be watching the event, because it's always a fun thing to do, and I love football so much, so it's really cool to be doing this.
Rumor has it that a last minute shot from the halfway line, a certain podcast host might be involved.
A certain podcast host might be involved.
Found out yesterday before the podcast.
Yeah, I would absolutely love you to be one of the commentators for the event. I think you'd be such a good fit. I think it's also just because like so much about the Minecraft space, and a lot about the creators, but you're also interested in football. I think that is a match made in heaven. So yeah, it'd be awesome if you could do the commentating for that.
Have you decided the other commentator by any chance?
I have received a bunch of names from people, and I do have people in mind, but I've got a list that I want to go through and do a bit of vetting through and see if they're good fits and things like that first.
Because I do have a vouch. I can do it off podcast if you don't want me to. I'll probably do it off podcast.
Yeah, don't say it publicly because then I don't think that's a good idea. Send me it later.
I'll send you it later. That. Yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm just saying I do have vouchers, as
Okay, that's good information to know.
I could be vouching for myself. I could just be saying medium commentator. You never know.
Double you up. But yeah, it'll be a really fun event. I'm looking forward to it as well. We'll probably end up picking a charity so that we can raise money as well, because I've been super into that recently. That's for sure.
I don't know how. I don't know how like I ended up kind of on your radar for it. I mean, other than maybe InsideMC. But I remember it's funny because we was at when I was at the Forest game, kind of talking about the TwitchCon thing. That's when Ollie brought up. He's like, "Oh, there's like going to be another football game." And I was like, "Oh, I haven't heard anything." I was like, "Oh yeah, like it's because it's like different management. Like there's still the same kind of people involved. It's like different management."
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. I was like, "Gosh, I'd love to go." And that was it. I just made a side comment to Ollie. And then like 2 weeks later, you messaged me. I'm like, "Oh wow, this is cool."
Yeah, I find it very interesting because like it's been really awesome just getting to know people, and I always feel like it's important to take the time to speak to people and form those connections, because weirdly a huge amount of information just seems to find its way to me one way or another. Conversations that people have, events that are going on, things like that just kind of like trickles down to my ears somehow, and that was one of the pieces of information that I just suddenly came across. So I was certainly happy to get that. That's for sure.
No,
it coincided well with obviously us doing this podcast together too, so that also worked well.
No, you're gonna smash it. I know Fulham does an amazing job, and it's cool because like I mean Fulham did an amazing job, but again, kind of most of it was kind of him running it a bit solo. So it's kind of nice you have this entire team working behind you now.
Well, yeah, exactly. Wow. I know that I can't do a lot with the whole casting things and like knowing how all the streaming stuff works. So like the fact that Toby and Erin are gonna be like taking the lead on that sort of thing is just such a relief for me, because like I wouldn't know where to start start with how to do an IRL stream like that. So having that expertise and, you know, these people like on the team is just really, really helpful to lean on that experience. And it's just one less thing to worry about. So that's also very cool.
I really didn't know how big of a football fan you were. This is news to me.
I love football.
This is one of the things I missed in the research.
Football is one of my biggest passions. Like I've grown up loving football, and like I remember my first ever game was Newcastle against Chelsea in 2005, I think it was, and I think it was 1-1. It was the game after that Chelsea had won the league with Mourinho, and I remember that we gave the Guard of Honor to Chelsea because that's what you do. Like you clap the team that's like won the league, like as they come out the tunnel or whatever. And I so vividly remember that day, and like I remember because I was sat in the front row actually with my dad, and I remember Frank Lampard, like the ball came to us, and I remember us throwing the ball to Lampard, like, and I just thought that was such a weird core memory that I could just remember so vividly when Frank Lampard was right in front of me and I passed the ball to him.
I'm a big fan of when people kind of go down this, and you'll see what I'm on about in a second. I'm a big fan of when people go down this route, because it's really fun mentioning that I was 2 years old. Yeah,
that's incredible.
Just to like put into context that you was.
I don't know how you could even like enjoy football at that age. Like I don't remember any football memories from when I was.
Oh no,
2.
but I mean more context is no. That's what I'm trying to say though. When you was at a football game, it's just fun to mention that like, you know, I was only 2 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
No context at all to what you just said. Just fun to add on, really.
No, sure.
Did you have any more questions for me before I move into more questions with you?
Oh, I have.
This is kind of fun, actually. I'm kind of enjoying this.
I have other things that I've written down about, like from my research as well, because I know that you do like the Crafted Together Awards. Is that right?
Oh gosh, oh yeah.
And I've seen that pop up because I know that's also a really cool way to get involved with the community too. So I think that's a really awesome thing that you're doing too. I remember just reading about the Crafted Together Awards, which is awesome. It's awesome to have like an awards thing like recognizing different creators and things. So like it's really awesome that you're doing that too. Yeah. I didn't have any questions. I just wanted to compliment you.
Oh no, I appreciate it. Thank you. No, it's just a fun little thing that I kind of like. It kind of links into the whole InsideMC thing, but I was like, I want to do something to kind of shine more light on the community, because I can only do so much with interviewing on the podcast. It kind of becomes an archive. But how else can I, you know, shine more light on creators? And that's when
it's awesome.
The Crafted Together was formed. And it was meant to be me with one other person, and it kind of just ended up becoming a me project, which was like rough, kind of going from wow, we had this big plan to now you're solo.
No, that happens sometimes, doesn't it? But you do a good job with it, and I love that a lot. I remember finding out about it because Eloise, I think, won the Streamer of the Year on the Crafted Together Awards, and that's when it came onto my radar because Eloise was nominated. I really wanted her to win. So yeah, that's how I know about that, which is fun.
Well, if you want to present an award next year, well, this year, no, here's returning, so you can present an award. I'd be happy to have you involved.
What a treat! All right, come on. What do you have for me? What's next?
Okay, so we talked about your PhD and studying and stuff like that. I guess like
that old chestnut.
That old chestnut. We did kind of touch on it, but I guess for the timestamp here specifically, how do you then get into Minecraft content creation?
I was wondering why this question was going to come up. So yeah, as I said before, like Minecraft was really not a game I played at all before I met Scott in October of 2023. Like I didn't watch any content or anything like that. I'd seen like very, very old stuff from back in like 2011. Because I remember my friends in high school got into like they had that like 2-week Minecraft phase or whatever it is where we all play for a little bit, and one of us buys a server and then we play for 2 weeks and no one touches it again. That's kind of what happened. But I remember us getting super into Minecraft survival games because I remember there was that really, really OG original Minecraft survival games video that came out, and I remember really, really enjoying that. And like it was that sort of style of Minecraft that we would play all together, and then we had like a very basic vanilla world. But like basically, I just didn't touch it again after 2011. Like I didn't play it at all. It was never a game. I always had like you know how like there's some games that you kind of like frown upon a little bit. You're like, oh no, not that game. That's a lame game or whatever. Yeah. There was just something about Minecraft that I never really like loved or never really got into it. And then I met Scott. And genuinely, that is where my passion sort of came from. I just saw how much he loved it and the joy that he got to have with having all of these like wonderful friends that he could just hop on a call anytime and just play games or whatever, and that be his job. And it was just such a different world to what I'm used to. So I kind of just gave it a go with streaming in, I think it was January 2024. I did my first ever stream, and that was basically I did Teamfight Tactics, so like the League of Legends like not spin-off sort of game that they have, like the chessboard kind of game. I did a little bit of that, and I just kind of rolled with it and played a bit of that. Like I only like streamed to like what was it, average 1 or 2 viewers a stream or whatever. Like I looked at my stats like a while ago, and I saw like my average viewership was 0.5 viewers, which is just so common like when you start up streaming. No. So when you start up streaming, you have like those kind of stats, and like it can be very demotivating, but the way I kind of look at it is like, you know, when you have 1 to 2 viewers, it's a good opportunity. You can have like a one-on-one conversation with someone. It's like you should map out in your brain like what presenting to all these different people in content is like. So like if you have like 1 or 2 viewers, that could be like you're on a date, or like you're having a coffee with a friend or something, and you just get to have like close interaction with just that one person, talk about the game, that kind of thing. And then like say if you have 3 to 4, it's like you're having a lunch with some friends, and it's just about like gradually building up that sort of audience. And you know, Minecraft I didn't actually play on stream for a little bit because my computer just couldn't hack it at all. And like as I'd been doing like, you know, my PhD, I didn't really have a lot of time for streaming, so I didn't actually do it that often. It was when I went to TwitchCon in 2024 in Rotterdam. That was my first ever TwitchCon.
Oh, you were there?
And I was there, but I was Scott's dirty little secret at that point, so I didn't exist. I was quiet and
so
kept
you've been
to
together
myself.
for a while then.
We've been together for a long time, only publicly for the past, you know, year, since I think it was March of last year that
That's
like
cool.
he publicly revealed me. But like I spent a long time doing streams just like on my own entity, and I sort of really enjoyed that because it taught me like all the skills that I needed to know. It's like I feel like sure you could get a shout out from anyone, but like you need to have like the capacity to keep people involved and engaged. And I think going through that phase of, you know, still having like, you know, 1 to 2 viewers a stream and still having that natural organic growth, I think was really important, just so I could understand the very basics of doing streaming. And you know, the first time I was in doing Minecraft was when AMCTV invited me to ExposureCraft SMP back in, I think it was August or September of 2024. And I remember it was a very sort of casual SMP, and like I had met like a number of people at TwitchCon and things that like I, you know, later became friends and things like that. And it was very, very natural to sort of just jump into SMP content like that. And like I didn't really know what I was doing or how I would play around with it, because like I'd never done like SMP stuff before, so I didn't really know how to approach it. And the same kind of thing happened when I did Christmas Vibes SMP in 2024. That was the second SMP that I was invited to. And I just didn't really understand it that massively, but like, you know, just having like that experience, just even if it was like just to a very small audience. So I was only streaming to like, I don't know, 5 or 6 people when I was on ExposureCraft. And just having those experiences and building up that, like, I don't know, that skill set. Because as like we were talking about before with MCSR versus like SMP content, it's a very different sort of type of content that people can get involved in. And it's very hard to sometimes find an audience that's receptive to sort of both of them. And I just sort of gave that a go for a little bit, and, you know, got invited to then Misadventures in March 2025, which honestly changed my streaming career. Like Lizzie was so kind enough to invite me to it, and it was a massive risk, obviously, because like I was a very, very small creator back then, and honestly I was not bringing a lot to the table, but like, you know, people vouched for me as part of the people that were interested in bringing in different people, and we had like a lot of very, very small sort of streamers at the time, people that had done YouTube obviously, but it was a really awesome experience. And I went into it having sort of a, you know, a bit of a plan of what I wanted to do, and that was to be able to tell like the story of Misadventures at the University of Cambridge, because obviously I needed to bring it up somehow. But basically the whole idea was that I had all the knowledge of the entire server in my university, so it'd have like all the books from each like specific lore point that people had created, and, you know, there were builds dedicated to different elements of the SMP, which I really, really liked. And it was just a way for me to be able to tell the story of the entire server and connect it all together well, and I really, really enjoyed that. And you know, I love Misadventures so much, and I had such a big dear part of it was dedicated to my streaming, career or whatever. And I loved it so much. And it's a shame that we don't get as much activity anymore. I think, there are a lot of different factors to why Misadventures doesn't get as much sort of, activity on the server anymore. But it holds such a dear place in my heart because it was just so wonderful of a server to do. And then, of course, I had my first Power Creations invite as well in January, which was to Bannerful SMP, which was just such a fascinating, wonderful experience because I'd never done like in-character work before. It'd always been like basically being myself in an SMP. And, getting to explore that side of content was just so fascinating, and I loved being able to like plan out my characters, and it really made me appreciate how Minecraft content creators like craft the characters and tell the stories that they do, because the work that goes into some of these characters is phenomenal. And like, for example, Gracie right now in the Flight SMP is doing such a wonderful job because they've just created such a wonderful character that people are responding so well to, and she's been genuinely one of my favorite content creators in the past while because of how talented she is at like voice acting and forming characters. And I just love that side of it as well, because obviously we talked about like the MCC stuff before, but like I've been just enjoying SMP content so much. I get so much joy out of it, and spending the time to really build a world and tell these different stories and stuff, and I love it so much, and it's just so great.
And I must say, you are, and to kind of feed your ego here, you are very talented at it
Please.
as well. I learned, and I will be honest, I only just recently started following you on Twitch.
No, of course, no, I get
came
it.
under
No,
the whole knowing you more. But I've lurked a fair bit, and I must say, you are like when it comes to when you was in the SMPs, and I think you're also in the Fly SMP as well, aren't you?
I am, yeah. I'm playing Prince based on the Prince from Enchanted.
Oh yeah, I watched your mirror roleplay yesterday. That was fun.
That was a good fit. Oh yeah, it was awesome to have Lizzie come on and do the magic mirror, because I know that she loves like Disney films and things, and grew up watching them and stuff like that. So it was just really awesome that she was so receptive to being the magic mirror, which is going to be like a common theme throughout my my journey, because like I really don't see Prince Cambam as like one of the main drivers of the flight. I very much see him as just a bit of comedic relief and a bit of like a side little story and things like that. Just very much Disney vibes going on with my character, and just a little bit of fun, especially when there's so much angst in SMP content these days as well, which I kind of just like to bring, I don't know, a different perspective, a different story, but also helping other people tell their own stories, which I love so much. But yeah, I've been really enjoying doing it, and it means a lot that you tuned into my Magic Mirror stream. That's very, very kind.
It was great because when I clicked on, right, I can't remember what segment it was. I don't know that part. When I tuned in, you were talking to the mirror, and I think during this part, I don't know what happened, but maybe you just weren't asking replies from Lizzie, but you looked a bit crazy. I was like, oh, I wonder if this is the character, because when I joined, obviously Lizzie wasn't talking back to you, right? So you're talking to this mirror, and there's and there's no response. So I'm like,
when like lots of other people in the room? Were there a bunch of people in the room?
Maybe I can't remember off the top of my head now. Sorry. All I know is you turned around, you said something to the mirror, and then you was like, "Oh yeah," and I was like, "The mirror didn't say anything, Cambam."
No, the context for that is basically pulling the curtain behind as to how I do that segment. Is basically I'll send Lizzie like a couple prompts, and I'll just say like, "Hey, this is what I'm gonna ask you. Just give me what you want the mirror will say to me." And I told her just roast me at any given point. But basically, the way that it activates is I right-click on the mirror, so you might see me like punch the mirror or whatever it is, and that's how the voice line prompts. So like I send Mr. Mad Spy, who like is running the technical aspects behind the Flight SMP. I send him the voice line, so he then implements into the code and allows me to be able to click it. But it only plays once, so like I click it, and that's the only time I'll be able to play it. And sometimes it doesn't work, or we didn't know how it worked one time.
I think
So that's kind of how the mirror works, is that Lizzie will only ever say the phrases one time, and you'll never hear them again. I tried to get them to play again so that I could just show the audience how it works, and I think I asked Mad Spy to like reset it or whatever, but generally that's how it works. Like I right click, and I'm the only one that can right click on the mirror too. No one else on the server has the capacity or the ability to talk to my mirror. It is just me. I don't think anyone can even hear my mirror. It's only me that can hear anything, which is why my POV is so attractive, because you get to hear the magic mirror, which is obviously the biggest part of the server.
the biggest thing of the fly.
The biggest. But I just enjoy playing like the cocky prince who's just a nuisance and he just has all these funny bits, and it's just, I don't know, I enjoy it as like a contrast to Bannerfall, where I played like a very sort of anxious character, and his sort of big like driver was that it was a representation of my sort of anxiety and to how I sort of interpret my anxiety, and I wanted to tell that story because obviously Bannerfall, loads of phenomenal creators that did such a wonderful job of telling stories. Like you had, you know, Force Evit, Katie Gober, Nominal Gravy, who I thought were phenomenal. Mazes, like
Phenomenal
all creators.
Gravy. Sorry.
They all creators who like I hadn't had a lot of experience with, didn't know a lot about, and they were brilliant. They carried Bannerfall on their backs with brilliant plot lines, brilliant stories, so much activity, spent so much time planning bits, and obviously like so much credit has to go to Owen and Apakuna because they put so much effort and care into the projects that Power Creations create, and it was just such an honor to be invited to be part of that with loads of other really wonderful creators that I learned so much from, and it's honestly how I see myself getting to the point I am today with content creation is learning from all these wonderful creators. Like the biggest thing that you need to be doing in Twitch content and YouTube content in any type of you know field at all is trying to learn from other people, because you can't do it all alone. You can't just suddenly have the recipe all of a sudden to know exactly how you do everything. You need to learn off of people, and I'm just so fortunate that there's so many wonderful content creators out there who are happy to give a hand and to help tell a story. And I've learned so much from you know Nom, Forsey, Katie, Mazes, all of the people on Bannerfall about how they tell their stories, and it's something that I really want to bring to future SMP content, and amazing creators, and I'm so proud of how well they're all doing now. It's been so awesome to see.
Said this like for on like other podcasts and kind of just on Twitch streams, is like people really don't realize that content creation is like, it's about what you do, sure, but it's really about who you surround yourself with, not even in the sense of like collaborations. Like obviously collaborations and stuff help and they're cool. Like I mean InsideMC wouldn't be what it is without the guests, right? And even then I haven't invited nearly like as many, like you mentioned Owen. I've had Appa on to talk about Power, which is really cool. Owen's always someone I'd want on. There's a few other people who I just don't have like contact with at all who I'd want on.
No, but you build those, don't you? It takes time. You just find the right people, and you're able to like get a sudden connection or whatever, which I just I've loved to be able to get like with the time. And I think that's why it's so important to treat every content creator and everyone that you meet with just respect and love and care, and show that you actually care about their content, because what we do and what content creators do is not an easy job. And one of the things as well I noticed as well was just bring back the element of the PhD here, is when I'd always introduce myself and I'd say that that's what I did for a job, and they were like, oh, all I do is make Minecraft videos on the internet. But I always talk about it on my streams, and like people don't realize, and content creators don't realize, again, it's a symptom of having such an isolated type of work, right? Is that when you do content, you don't really get to see the impact that you have on so many people around the world, right? And there are so many young people and teenagers and young adults and people going through all sorts of different things in the world, mental health issues, physical health issues, and content and Minecraft content creators bring so much comfort to people. They give them just that little smile, that little laugh that they just really need. And sure, it's not giving people their breast cancer risk prediction scores, but giving someone a smile and a laugh is so important. And to be surrounded by so many people that, do that for a job and really just want to make people feel good about themselves is such a rewarding and humbling experience. So like, that's another reason why I just love it and love a lot of the people that I work with. It's just so wonderful to see how much dedication they give to their crafts and how that's received by people. It's really wonderful to see.
It's funny you mentioned that, just to kind of link it back to me here, because it's just what I do.
Please.
not to be like, oh, let me just talk about myself. It's just easier to can link to it. So I'll be completely open, and this is, I mean, it's the fact is in the numbers. The podcast, I love it. It's amazing. It's my favorite thing. I'm so glad I did it. Don't do crazy well for views, and that's in fact you can see that if you click on the channel or the Spotify or whatever, right? But it does good enough, but it doesn't do crazy. And to this day, I don't fully understand how I'm able to convince creators to come on, but they want to come on and they want to talk to me, and I'm more than happy, right? So I'm not complaining. But with it, because of the quote unquote lower viewer counts, I sometimes struggle to realize how much like that the fact that the podcast does actually have an impact. So for instance, while recording this with you now, just to kind of keep, maybe it's just part of how I've done it, it's just a habit now, is I like to watch a Twitch stream on mute. I just have it, so I have something to look at. So if we were in person, obviously I'd be looking at you, because I don't have anything to look at bar my notes. I have something on my second monitor. So right now I'm watching a content creator called Portal MG, do a horrendous job at parkour, right? That's what I've been watching for the last hour, because that's how far we are into the into his stream, and also the podcast as well, a bit longer. And I remember once him turning around to me and saying like he's listened to every podcast, and this is someone I consider a friend, right? And I think it's whenever a content creator turns around, like yourself, even if it was just research or whatever reason, right, turns around and goes, I've listened to the podcast, it always just kind of shocks me. I don't know why it shocks me, but it just does, right? It's like, oh, like someone who I enjoy their content also enjoys just listening to me yap to a different guest every single week. And I remember Paul turning around and saying like, and he'll message me now because I've said his name. I know for a while, once he gets this part, he'll message me, because he always does. Every time because I mentioned him on the Cherry Fire podcast and other ones as well.
Sure.
And it's it's just when he turned around and he's like, at work, I listen to every single podcast. Like I go to work and I listen to the podcast. It just shocks me that what I used to do for Jackmate and what got me into doing podcasts is now what someone else is doing for me. Like they're at work and they've got, and it's so cool, and it kind of links back into the kind of discussion we've been having, is about the people you surround yourself with, because I've surrounded myself with like-minded individuals who are working hard on content creation, who are positive, and that now makes me like, it's even just the smallest compliment that you give me during this podcast. Like, you know, you've given me a few, but I also say you're good at talking, right? It's just the smallest little thing that motivates me. It's like, wow, like you're someone who, you know, I enjoy your content. Or when I had Captain Sparkles on, or Jeremy SF, and they like, you know, they were actually interested to come on the podcast, and they actually gave me their time of day. That was so like valuable to me, because I grew up watching these people, right? And now you're sitting on a podcast talking to me like I'm an equal. It's insane.
It makes such a huge difference, and it's the biggest motivator, right? Because like so much of what people do in content is driven by that numbers that you get on YouTube, the 1 out of 10, the 2 out of 10, whatever. That's such a big driver, and it motivates people, or it demotivates them, or whatever. But like from what I found, like in terms of doing content, that it didn't matter when I was getting like 1 viewer a stream versus what I get now. I love it. I love the fact that what happens in the content could make a difference to someone, or it just gives someone a conversation they can have with someone. I love that side of it. I love that there is a way that people can connect, or like do fan art, or like even like you know, another creator watching another creator. I think it's just so awesome to see the community feel of Minecraft, and you know, content in general, depending what space you're in and things like that. I think it's one of my favorite parts of it. And numbers should not be the drivers for content. It should be about what you're passionate about and what you love. And you know, you wouldn't have done, God, how many podcasts was it, 190 or something that you've done so far?
You are the 100 and let me find out the
192nd, I think I am, or something.
You are indeed, yeah, 192nd.
Oh,
right. Bang on! Look, you've asked. Someone has really done their research.
I've done the research. But yeah, the fact that you've done that many, it just shows that it is something that you're passionate about. It's something that you care about. And that's, people always find people that are passionate about what they do. And people love passion. And views are not the big driver of anything. And I think having that in your portfolio as well as saying like, oh yeah, I did that, and getting that sort of name recognition for a later opportunity, I think is really important too. And I think that's awesome. So kudos to you and all the work that you've done with InsideMC, because it's really awesome.
Oh, thank you. I've been very open about this on previous podcasts. I'm happy to say it here. It's like I find appreciation in the view accounts and stuff like that, because obviously it's an easy, not to focus on it, but it is an easy motivator if like a podcast blows up or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, I've said this to people, and I've said it on podcasts before, is I find a lot more appreciation in the guests that I get on, and because and by that I mean, like, you know, again, the podcast isn't massive, right? But I'm able to, I've presented myself well enough, and I bring on a guest like yourself, and hopefully I'm right in saying this, I make you feel comfortable enough to the point where you are, you know, happy to say, like, if
happy to share, you know,
if for whatever reason it comes up in a discussion, you turn around and go, wow, I actually really enjoyed that. And it happened it happened with you technically. I mean, again, it was crazy to find out that you knew what InsideMC was, and you knew like and you found a good work. But I know
everything about Minecraft. I spend so much time looking up stuff stuff now, and I was watching The Devil Wears Prada last night, and we went to go see The Devil Wears Prada 2, and it just kind of like made me have a different sort of approach to work ethic and things like that, where like in The Devil Wears Prada, their entire life becomes their job, and they're researching all these papers and reading old magazines and learning about all the different styles and things. And it's very sort of similar to Minecraft as well. Like I enjoy finding out about what people do, and it saves so much hassle when you go to like a convention or whatever and someone says hello to you or whatever and you just have absolutely no idea what they do or anything like that. I think taking the time and learning about what other people are doing is such an important skill that not enough people do in the Minecraft content creation space. I think people need to be aware of everything that's going on as best as they can, so that they can just, identify people that they want to work with, or, get inspiration for a project that they want to work on. And I think it's such an important thing that people need to do more of. And that is literally what The Devil Wears Prada taught me yesterday was it's the whole thing. Don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing, or whatever it is. And I know I do a PhD and I'm doing content at the same time. I know that, but I like to think that I whole-ass both of them as best as I can. And I get so much joy and excitement by seeing what other people do and all the exciting projects. It's why, when Minecraft Live comes out, they have a whole segment dedicated to all the things that the community does, because, Minecraft wouldn't be anything without its community. It wouldn't be anything without all of the series, the projects that people have done across the years, and having an appreciation of what's going on and what other creators are doing is really important. And I think it's all like, say, when, I teamed with Hannah Rose for MCC recently on Spellbound, and I was just able to talk to her about like all the stuff that's going on Lifesteal, because even though like I wouldn't have watched it personally, just taking the time to learn about it a little bit goes a long way, and it helps you form these connections better with people, and that's why I think it's just so important.
I think that's one of my biggest like what's the word for it, like when you're happy about something, what's the word, like biggest proudest thing about myself doing, I don't know the word, I'm just saying random, I'm just spamming keywords.
No, sure.
The biggest thing I'm glad I did, there you go, is with InsideMC, obviously it's a podcast about Minecraft, but like I know nothing about, I don't play the game, I don't play Minecraft, I play speedrunning, that's it. I don't actually touch it. I did for a little bit, but I just don't really. So everything I do is about content creators, and even then I've branched out. Like I've had obviously you on, I know you're Minecraft, but to talk about the PhD. I've had the Spiff and Brit on, who is in Minecraft. I've had other content creators on and people who aren't Minecraft, which I'm glad. I want more of that every now and then, because it's a nice refresher. But I have dwelled, and as you know, I have dwelled into so many different communities now that I've literally reached every area of Minecraft. I've hit the SMP, I've hit Lifesteal, I've hit POW, I've hit, I've hit MCC, I've hit MCSR, like heavy. Like I've dwelled into every community, nearly every community there possibly is. There's some I haven't done, like maybe coding, but I've got skin artists on, I've had artists on, I think I've had a coder on at one point. Yeah, I did. I had a coder on like a very long time ago. I've like literally dwelled into every area, so I know, like, and this is, I made a tweet a while back, and it's like the problem with TwitchCon right now is, and I'm not complaining about there being so much Minecraft stuff, that's really, really cool, but the problem is because I've dwelled into every area of Minecraft, I enjoy every area of Minecraft, and because they're all overlapping, like POW and Life still overlap, then we got like, Tubbo's Midos overlapping with all the panels that day, and it's just like I can't go to all of them, and it's like it's annoying because I enjoy all of these aspects because I've talked to people from all of these aspects of Minecraft. Exactly. And I'm glad I went down that route. Like I could have easily stuck InsideMC to talking about updates or the game or coding or only a specific niche, but I've gone into every area.
It's so important to do that though. Like you're just getting an appreciation for how Minecraft is a sandbox game where you can do anything, so it seems silly to only focus on one thing within Minecraft. There are so many different elements of it, and there's the art element, there's the coding element, there's the storytelling, there's so many brilliant parts of it, which is why it's now my favorite game ever. I love Minecraft so much, and it has brought me so much joy, and it's brought me all of these wonderful friendships that I cherish and I love so much, and why I enjoy doing what I do now so much is because I've met so many wonderful people that have helped me get there.
Would you like a really fun story?
Go on.
I have two fun stories. I'll give you both of them. So it's linking back to your whole like connections and talking to people in person stuff that you briefly touched on then. So TwitchCon 2024, back to the after party, the MCC after party. I'm just going to call it that for simplicity.
Sure.
I'm sitting at the bar. I'm going up to the bar, and the bar service was crap. I don't know. You said you were there. I don't know if you remember the bar service. Absolutely horrendous. All right. I'm sitting at the bar, and Kara's there, and I haven't seen Kara at all this entire convention. I really wanted to bump into her, but I hadn't. She'd been on the podcast. Obviously, I wasn't showing my face at the time. I only started showing my face when I got the panel, so that was January 2025. So she didn't know what I looked like unless she'd saw a picture of me, because I posted pictures, but still. So I sat down and I'm like, oh, blah 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 blah. And she's like, oh, so what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I run a podcast. She's like, oh, what podcast? I'm like, InsideMC. And she's like, wait, and I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, and then I didn't. If I said Orbitzz, wouldn't know who I was. If I said Charlie, wouldn't know who I was. Because I said InsideMC, which she'd been on, and even if she hadn't been on it, she might know it. She knew it. Yeah. This other person who's sitting at the bar, Witty, right? He turns around, and the co-host of Midweek MC at the time was AJX. He turns around and goes, AJX? I'm like, no, the other one. He's like, oh, and then then it clicked, and again we're doing that.
That's
and then,
so funny.
So then we fast forward to TwitchCon 2025, which I think was by far, and hopefully this year will top it, by far my best Twitch. I've only been to 3, so be it, but still by far my best. So we're walking around the convention, and I'm gonna time jump here. So this is on the Saturday. I'm walking, and then there's Fulham and Corey Way, and they're surrounded by a bunch of people in a circle. As we're walking away, Pangy walks up, and I say hi to Pangy. Pangy knows who I am. I didn't have to say InsideMC, I had to say Orbitzz, and Pangy knew who I was, which was cool. I'm not saying it's a flex, but there's context here. Then Durapchu comes up and he goes, wait, you're the guy who owns InsideMC? And I'm like, yeah. And so again, time jump here. I had previously tried getting in contact with Durapchu, but couldn't, because I think he had his friend request off maybe, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
right?
sure, yeah.
So I'm like, InsideMC is like, oh, and I'm like, well, like, if you want to come on the podcast, you can. Like, I've been trying to get in contact with you for a while. And it's like, yeah, I'd love to. I was like, all right, let me send myself a friend request before we forget. And I overthought me saying that so hard, because sometimes I was thinking, I was like, I turned around to my partner Chloe and I was like, does that sound rude? Like, let me send you a friend request so you don't forget. Like, I think would I say rude? It's not really a rude sentence. Anyways, so then I bring Durapchu on the podcast, and he's like, I found it funny. All he said was, I found it funny. I didn't care. I was like, great. So then we time jump back to TwitchCon. Sorry, again, all over the place. MCC happens on a Sunday. Then at the end of MCC, there's 2 people standing there, and for some bizarre reason, both of them are like, they're separated. So I go to one at a time, and for some bizarre reason, they're not surrounded by anyone. So the first person I go to is SB737, and so I go up to him and I'm like, oh, blah blah blah, we're chatting. I'm like, oh, by the way, like, I own a podcast called InsideMC, and he went, oh yeah, I think I heard of that. And I was like, yeah. It's like, would you be interested in coming on as a guest? He was like, yeah, man, I'd love to. Bang, SB737 comes on a podcast. I then walk over to this other person, and it didn't result in a podcast guest, but it's Anthony. You know Anthony from Minecraft.
Yeah, Anthony from Minecraft.
And for some bizarre, and I said it to Chloe, I can't believe it. No one is surrounding him. So like, I just had this free conversation with him. We was just chatting about Minecraft, blah blah blah. And then like, you know, it hasn't really amassed or anything. Which again, it's not like me flexing, you know. But like, you know, I added him on Discord from it. But I was like, it's so like I told him about the podcast. He obviously didn't know it was, but like, it's now he knows of InsideMC. So if anything ever comes from it, like, he'll know about it.
Yeah, you have that, and it, you know, it's part of the thing that you need to do is take risks and be brave.
And even with you this year, all I have to do is walk up to you and be like, yeah, I'm Orbitzz from InsideMC, and you'll know who I am.
I will know now. Yeah, exactly. Brilliant.
It's about you.
It's been so fun. I've had such a good time on the podcast. It's been so fun. Like, I'm so appreciative of being invited and all that.
Well, we're just waffling away, aren't we? Right? It's great.
We are, and that's honestly, those are my favorite kinds of podcasts to listen to. Is just when you waffle and you just chat. Like, it's what I don't know if you are familiar with. Basically, the only 2 YouTubers I have ever really watched and enjoyed throughout my life are Jenna Marbles and Julian Solomita. I love them both so much. They have brought me so much joy throughout my life. And they have the Jenna Julian podcast, or they used to have it. And part of the reason I just enjoyed it so much was just because they just chatted about stuff they wouldn't usually chat about in like an episode of anything, or like on a stream or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, part of the reason I love it so much. I love podcasts like this where you can just waffle and, you know, have a chat, and it's the whole point. So love it a lot. It was fun.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like, again, like I said, I find like more appreciation in who, like, you saying yes and knowing about it than like how many viewers this podcast might get, for example. And it's just like,
we're gonna spread it everywhere. That's what we're gonna do.
It's gonna go all over. I'm gonna hand out like leaflets at TwitchCon. It's gonna be a QR code link into this.
Yeah,
podcast.
QR codes just on lampposts throughout. Because
that's completely normal to do and fine and
it is. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm gonna do.
Kind of continuing the Minecraft stuff here. So I'm looking at the Cambam channel.
Yes.
You made as you mentioned,
Cambam 010, of course. I've been trying to get the Cambam username, but the person I think still has an active account with it. But yeah, sorry, go on, please.
No, I'd love the InsideMC username, but I'm sadly stuck with InsideMC's podcast. I could change to studios, but podcast is working, so I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
You mentioned about misadventures. You haven't uploaded in 8 months, so I'm kind of missing the content.
I honestly, having the full-time PhD and doing Twitch stream is a lot in of itself, and I feel like if I split Twitch and YouTube up, I feel like I don't give as much attention to one thing. It's hard enough like doing VODs and things because I do it all like by myself with some support with like, you know, shorts editing and like some of the work with the art and things, but like the thumbnails and the VODs and transferring all that sort of stuff I do by myself, and it's a lot of work, especially when it's not a full-time job. And it's something that I'd love to do. I'd love to be able to do YouTube videos and find the time to do that, but it's just I can't. I really want to. I've actually, like, I don't know if you're familiar with Infinite Drift, who by the way is just a phenomenal content creator, and I love Drift so much. He's so fantastic, and you know, I were like chatting and saying like we both really want to do some more like YouTube video stuff, like just in Minecraft in general. So we're gonna have like a brainstorming session this weekend to see what we can come up with and see if we can find something that works for us, because yeah, I'd love to do it. I'd love to upload more. I had my IRL channel where I did like cooking videos, which I love to, and I want to bring that, but it's just time. It's just you have to allocate your resources, and if you don't have the time to spread out yourself so thinly, you should focus on making one thing really good, which is what I've tried to do with Twitch as well, is try and make it look brilliant, try and bring content that people enjoy, and do my best on there. And yeah, I'd love to do YouTube, I'd love to, but it's just finding the time, and it's so hard.
I guess like to put you on the spot here,
please.
And I think you've probably thought about this answer, so it's already putting you on the spot, to be honest. What will you choose once it's all done?
I've had this question so many times. I love content.
You knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. I love content. I get so much joy from it, and I could never get rid of that. But I have to say the same thing about public health research. I love doing research. I love working with members of the public. I love having a steady income. There's a lot of things that I love about having a quote unquote regular job. I'd love to say it was very simple as I'd love to do content, or I'd love to do just one thing or the other, but I genuinely do not have an answer. I love it both so much, and I would love to just continue doing what I'm doing. Like if I build up enough resources to be able to like fund an editor, so that could, because that is the big drawback with YouTube videos, is it's the editing, not the filming, that takes up all the time.
Yeah.
And if I could have that resource in place, that would be awesome, because it means I could do that as well. But I just don't have the capacity to do that right now. And I think after PhD is done, like myself and Scott are planning to move up to Sheffield, but there'll be a little bit of a period where I'm living down at his place down in Brighton. So I think during that time, I will dedicate a couple months to doing full-time content, which I've never really done before. And, you know, see how that goes. But I think the most likely scenario is that I will find a job in public health research when it's all done, just because I love it so much, and I love that side of my life, and it gives me something fun to talk about, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, technically you could keep content creation alive. Do you want to know
how? Go on.
The Cambam IRL channel.
God. Yes, the wonderful Cambam IRL channel. I started that actually, like, it started off being like an educational sort of channel, like as in like I'd give like advice for like students on like writing applications and things like that, which I really enjoyed because I thought it was very applicable to me. But then I sort of realized I don't love this. I love Venom Marbles, and I love Julian Solovita, and I love doing cooking videos and cat videos and stuff like that. That's the kind of content that I enjoy watching. So even though it's not like insanely well edited, or like there's no like crazy effects or anything on the videos, it's very sort of your classic 2014 style video, which I loved watching. It's what I enjoyed. And even though like I know YouTube has moved on from that kind of content, and you know, it's very much high edited stuff now, I don't care. I love doing what I do with Cambam IRL, even though I haven't done it for so long now. Like it's been over a year since I uploaded my last video on there. Like I I would love to continue with that because genuinely I loved that type of content, and I think it's just a symptom of me having focused my energies on Twitch that I just haven't been able to do that on the IRL channel. But I love cooking and I love doing like videos like that because again, it's just the content that I like watching. It's fun to me, and yeah, I need to get into that. This has motivated me to get back into that. I know my audience has been wanting me to do one specific video, which I will. I've recorded like twice now, but I just haven't edited it, and then so much has changed that I just don't want to do it anymore. So I'm gonna record it for a third time soon, and oh my god, I will do it. I will, Orbitzz. I will bring it back, but. Oh,
I'm scrolling through your TwitchCon 2024 VOD to see if I somehow am in this.
I don't know if I did much. I don't know if I did much recording at the actual convention. Because I did that VOD. I did that video with like a few friends and things outside the con, but I didn't actually do much recording in the actual event space.
I need to check something.
Which was fun. And then obviously I watched MCC, and it was cool seeing like my friends do amazing stuff. And that was I loved being in the audience for MCC. That was really, really fun.
There's a strong possibility that you're in the background of one of my pictures based on where you're seated. I need to find this.
I have to scrounge around for that this week then.
No, I'm looking now. while we chat. It's here. I just need to find it. Actually, why am I scrolling through my Twitter when I can just look on my phone where it is? Hold up. I'm looking at the vlog of where you're sitting, and I can see the back of someone's head who I know is in the picture. So based on the width of my camera, you might just be clipped in the background. This is gonna be so crazy if you are. Hold up.
That's so funny.
Write down 20.
Yeah, because I was on like the right hand side. Like if you're looking at the audience perspective, looking at the stage, I was on the right hand side.
Yeah, hold up. Oh, here it is. Are you there? Okay, I see. Yeah, I see that. Okay, no, that's a bad angle.
I think I was sat next to Mitsify, if you know who Marissa is.
I do indeed. Okay, I see this person in your vlog. I know who that is. You're sitting up behind them. I don't think you was in at the time the selfie was taken.
It's always funny when you find those coincidences though, because I was like chatting with like Nominal Gravy about it actually like the other week, and he was like saying how like he was at like the TwitchCons the last couple of years, but I would just genuinely have no way of knowing who he was because we just never met or we weren't aware of each other's presence, but we were both at the convention, which is so it's awesome when you chat about that with other like creators and things and just find out all these little weird connections with people, which is very, very cool. So
yeah, looking at this,
love it a lot.
Yeah, looking at this photo, you should be seated back here to the left, and you're not seated there, but you are. I think I see Cody Cast in the background. Actually, that's funny.
That's so fun.
Well,
I didn't know him at the time. I didn't know him at the time as well, but now I do, obviously. But yeah, it's just funny that you find these people.
He's been on the podcast as well. Very fun. Oh wow, yeah, that's all. Yeah, I don't think I'm in your vlog, sadly. I think it would have been really funny if in one of your.
I'm really sorry about that. I'm sorry. I should have thought.
You should have known who I was then. Yeah.
I should have, and I'm really sorry that I didn't.
Are you planning on vlogging this year?
I don't think I will, because I just kind of like having like it's kind of like what I do. I don't really take a lot of photos with people, like doing vlogs and things like that, just because I kind of like just being a human sometimes. Like it was like when like say Toby did his wonderful coffee launch in Brighton at like it's like this cafe that's in Brighton, the really wonderful like business that's down there. But like a lot of people there were all doing like IRL like streaming and things like that, and it was quite overwhelming just like having a camera in your face for every conversation, or having the idea that every conversation is being picked up. So I probably won't do a vlog just because like I like having the time just with friends and just not being on camera for a little bit. Like I do very much value that part of it. Like it's like in Brighton, for example, like I've got my badminton crew, which is like Toby, John A, Max, Steph, like a bunch of really, really wonderful people down here. But like that is my extent of my friend. I don't do any content with them because I genuinely just don't want to. I want to have people that I can just be friends with and enjoy time with and just have my badminton and go and have like some lunch and things together. Like I like that side of it, of just having friends and not just content people the whole time, which I really enjoy. Yeah. Exactly.
Did you know that you share a name with a famous software 3D printing model?
I am aware of this, and I know about this because when I started off doing content, I looked up Cambam on Google and things like that, and on like Reddit or whatever it was, and I saw this 3D software tool appear on the internet. And luckily, I've now gotten to a point where if you type Cambam, I know the software is still up there first, but I'm there now, which is fun and exciting. But yes, I am aware that I share a name with a software tool. I don't know why. Like my username like came from basically just a nickname that my friends gave me growing up. They would say, "Oh, hey Cambam." It was specifically my friend Rover. He would always call me Cambam growing up, and I always really liked that. So I made it like my League of Legends username, and then that's what inspired me to make it my Twitch name and my YouTube name and things like that. So yeah, I am aware. Yes.
But when you search InsideMC, for some bizarre reason, it shows up inside Montgomery College. So
yeah, that's obviously what I'm looking up when I type in InsideMC, is that I want to see Montgomery College. Obviously, yeah, exactly.
And then the other one, which I can't seem to find, but I've been told about it, is an ASMR study video.
You found my ASMR study video.
I
yes.
didn't. Roman did. I can't seem to find it myself, though.
I can get you the link. Hold on. It's my fourth video that I ever uploaded, because basically I was wanting to like basically just pump out content.
I see.
And
yes.
I just like, it was when I started the PhD, like I found this library in my college, and like it was just really peaceful and therapeutic, like relaxing in there to do your work and stuff. So I thought, you know what, I've just kind of started my YouTube channel. Why not just record myself doing like a bit of like no background noise or whatever? So I just kind of did that, and like it's so stupid, but like I've seen like people like uploading pictures of themselves like studying, and they're just having me on in the background in that stupid library. And oh, I don't know why I did that video, but I kind of like it. I enjoy it. So yeah, that exists on the internet. If you ever want to go see that, it's the fourth video that I ever uploaded on the Cambam IRL channel. It's great for learning. It follows the what's it called, it's like the Pomodoro method, where you study for 25 minutes solid and then you take a 5-minute break, and you do that just on a cycle, and it's really, really helpful and efficient for getting work done. So yeah, go watch that video. It's great. I don't talk, but I'm there.
It will never remake the light of day, but in a similar context to you, when I made when I was doing Insane Orbits content, and like very early doors before like Insane Orbits kind of started taking off, at least away from command block tutorials, I made an ASMR survival games video.
Wow.
Well, it was crap. It wasn't even ASMR. It was just me whispering into the mic. There was nothing. It was actually anti-ASMR looking back on it now.
I'm going to launch an ASMR channel. Cambam ASMR is the next step, I think, in this content chapter for me.
KSMR BAM.
No. Wait, is that what it's called? That's what your one's called?
No, that's what yours can be called, KSMR BAM.
No, it can't. No.
No, you don't like the idea?
No, I don't like the idea. I'll make it a Twitch stream one time, and it'll be the worst thing ever, and then people will hate
You're
it.
gonna put it to come join my KSMR BAM.
Yeah. I think that'd be great.
That's it really for the topics before we move into the Twitter questions. Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about? Any more questions for me?
No, I think that's
hearing
awesome.
questions before. It's shocking. It's great.
You've never had anyone ask you the questions as well. No, I think I've covered all the big things. I also saw that you did an accounting degree or something like that on your.
How did you find that? Wait,
I'm good at researching. You did an accounting degree.
I did, yeah. I've got a level 2 and level 3 in AAT, yeah.
Yeah, good. Keeps you accountable.
That's like I haven't done accounting for like 3-4 years. I haven't even talked about it. What?
No, and of course you started off doing command block tutorials on your channel.
Well, most people. I used to be known as the command block guy. Then I was known as the bedrock guy, and now I'm known as the podcast guy, which I prefer the most.
No, but before that you were known as the accounting guy, weren't you?
I was known as kind of, I guess. I don't know. Like I studied accounting. I just didn't enjoy sitting behind the desk, which is ironic.
No, I get that. It's depending on what you're doing though. You enjoy it or you don't. So
exactly.
But yes, I'm a very good stalker, or I just know where to look to find information.
Well, I mean,
about
you do it yourself, don't you? So.
I do. It's my job. I literally research people and learn about what I can ask them, and that's what I do. Like generally, like I do a lot of interview things with participants and forming the right questions and looking for specific things that they might be interested in, and it's generally what I'm paid to do. So yep, sorry about that, but yeah, accounting.
No, you're fine. Right, we have some Twitter questions, but before
go on,
ask Twitter questions. I have one more question from myself.
Okay.
I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask regardless.
Okay.
Obviously, you're in Twitch Rivals MC. I'm not asking for your team. Don't worry. That's not what I'm about to ask, just in case.
Yes, I'm aware.
I'm assuming you want to take your nameplate home with you.
I am. I do. I have both my ones from the last MCC and the one before that, so I will be wanting to take that with me.
Okay, that's
what were you wanting my nameplate?
I was gonna ask if I could have it. Yeah.
Thing is, I've got one of them that I've got my grey one from Color the World, which I'm not a huge fan of. So I'd be willing to part with the one that I don't like, but if this is a nice one, I will want to keep it. And yeah, no, sorry, Orbitzz, you can't have my name.
If things ever change, Cambam,
if things change, I'll let you know. I'll know where to go. Exactly.
I've asked. Like, I'm trying to like, because again, linking back to Paul MG, he got in a Little Woods one, and back in 2024, I asked Fruitberries, and Fruitberries said, "Yeah, sure, you can have it," but then forgot to grab it at the end of MCC. So like ever since then, I've been trying to get people. So I've like asked you and someone else this year, but both the typical answer. I mean, if I had an TwitchCon nameplate, no one's going anywhere near that. So I completely respect it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, fun. Twitter questions.
Hello, Twitter.
Some of these we might have already gone over, but I don't pre-read them beforehand, so I'm just gonna ask them in a moment, and then it's fun for timestamps.
Okay.
This one is from Star Kid Fan also.
Oh, I love Team Star Kid. Yeah, go on. I think I've seen them in my chat before.
There we go.
Go on.
Within your PhD, what do you find the most difficult but also very rewarding?
Oh God, there's like I could sit here for hours with all the things that I find difficult but also rewarding. I guess like the biggest thing that you have with researchers, the big be all end all is publishing a paper, right? And then like disseminating it, presenting at conferences, and just it's so difficult, the process of writing up a paper, doing all of the steps to it, and you genuinely hate life for a while because of all the different things that you have to do to get a paper published. But like, and that's what you don't really understand. Like, say when you're doing like a university degree or a high school degree and you're like looking up like papers to reference or whatever, so much work goes into that, and that's so challenging and so much work. But the feeling of finally getting that email come through and saying, hey, guess what? You're getting published in this journal. Like, that is electric. And like, it'll be like generally a sign for like people in the teams, like, or go out for like a drink as a team or whatever. So I'd say that is the thing that I find most difficult, is getting that paper published, but the feeling of getting it done is phenomenal. You can say that about any project really in life, but that specifically.
That was really cool. Sorry, the Twitter questions I don't really build on. I kind of they're not.
No, that's fine. No, of course, yes. Yeah.
This one is from Factorization 4. Something again we've kind of briefly touched on, but I think I can get a more specific answer here, which would be quite fun.
Okay.
How do you find the balance between your PhD and content creation? Have you ever applied anything you've learned from PhD to streaming, or vice versa?
That's a good question. First of all, there's two parts to it. So the balancing bit, I stay as disciplined as I can, right? So like a PhD, you have a lot of flexibility. It's very much dependent on what you do and how you approach the work, and no one else is going to do it for you. You have to do it. So like being very disciplined about saying, okay, it's a 9 to 5. I will work 9 o'clock through 5 o'clock, and that's when I'll do PhD work, and then I'll turn it off. And I've always said that, like when I've been revising for exams back in high school, I'd always say 9 p.m. That's when I stop doing work and I have a life. So basically 5 p.m. onwards, I again get to turn on content mode, and I get to plan out my streams and do my work on my Discord or my community SMP that I've got, which again, my moderator team do such a great job on. So I'd say just being very disciplined and saying, okay, 9 to 5, that's my full-time job work. That's time for PhD. After that, do what you want, go ham, do your content creation. And again, staying disciplined with that as well, making sure that you get VODs out, which I struggle with quite a lot. But communicating when streams are, planning them out is a huge part of it. And basically it's just trying to stay disciplined and find your motivation as well. Find what gets you ticking and how you get work done. There was a second part to that question, wasn't there, that I missed?
Yeah, have you ever applied anything from either to the other?
No, not massively. I think I will, because part of what you do in content is advertising and marketing yourself well as a creator. And I think one of the things that researchers struggle with is sharing findings and sharing their own work and things. And I think I have learned a lot of lessons about how to like advertise a stream like through posters or whatever, or like share my VODs or tweet about things and building up that audience, I think I know how to do that in research too. And again, discipline from PhD work, like staying organized, like I try and stay as organized as I can and apply the same rules of organization from PhD to content creation is a big thing that I try to do as well. So there's lots of little things, I think, but nothing major, just like lots of little tricks and things I'd say that come up.
And I feel like the other ones we've kind of brushed over. There are some other ones here, but we've kind of touched on the topics already, really. So I don't really see the need to repeat yourself.
Thank you very much to them for submitting.
Yes, thank you anyways.
Thank you, guys.
I have one more thing. Sorry, I know I keep saying this. I have one more thing and having another thing.
Go on.
I just realized we didn't really touch on it. We brushed over it really. As the charity streams you've been doing, like you mentioned, you've been doing them once a month, and they've been absolutely insane.
No, I've been really enjoying that. Like I think it's just I recognize there's a lot of conversations that happen in content creator space that they don't use their platforms for the best things or whatever, and I really just want to dedicate one day a month to like focusing on something that really matters and using that platform and the community that I've built to try and do some good. So say the first charity stream that we had back in March was for Cancer Research UK, where we raised £2,155, if I remember correctly, something around there. And basically I kind of structure them out where like I have like a bunch of different activities and I invite lots of guests on. And then last Saturday we had one for the World Wildlife Fund for Nature, WWF, which is again a phenomenal charity I've worked before with. And we just sort of tried to do a lot more sort of themed like activities. So like we did a building competition on the Cambam SMP where we had a bunch of like guest judges and things. We did Gartic Phone, where I was hoping that we could do more nature themed like stuff on there, but we did. And I was going to build a peace lily made out of Lego because people enjoyed like a Lego stream that I did one time, so I wanted to incorporate that. But then that didn't arrive in time, so I had to build a crafting table. But we raised £1,550, I think, for that one or something around there. So I've just been really passionate about doing that and trying to use the platform for some good. And yeah, really enjoying that. So I'm going to be doing some work for Samaritans this month, so the mental health charity, which do all sorts of wonderful work for young people that are in desperate need of you know, if they're going through a massive depressed state or they're feeling suicidal or whatever, they're a great like phone line that you can call, and they can really help a lot of people across the country if they're going through a really challenging time. And that's a free service as well. So if you're struggling mentally, going through a really hard time, which I know a lot of people in the Minecraft space do, and a lot of people in the audiences, because they're such young people that have, you know, all sorts of challenges in life. And that's the charity that we're going to be working with this month. So hopefully you can raise as much money as possible from that too. But yeah, I just really enjoy it, and it's been really awesome to see that other creators have been really buying into it now and also taking part in things as well, which has been really awesome.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. It's really nice to see the work you're
doing. Oh, I enjoy it. It's fun. But yeah, thank you so much. It's very kind.
Well, with that being said then, Cambam, that sadly brings the end of this InsideMC.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on it. I've had such a good time, and yeah, good luck with it all. It's such awesome work, and yeah, I probably won't listen back to my own episode because I don't like listening to the sound of my own voice. But I hope that people have enjoyed it, and if you've gotten this far, well done.
Well, before I do the outro here, I always like to give the opportunity for you to promote yourself. So for anyone who didn't know who you was before this podcast, where can people find you?
Oh, I hate this bit of it. People can find me on twitch.tv/Cambam010. I've also got a YouTube side of thing where I post my VODs, and I also post a lot of stuff on like Twitter on Cambam0i0. I couldn't get the one because it was taken, but whatever. But I mainly do Twitch stuff. So if you want to tune into my Twitch on Cambam010, I've got lots of the flight content coming up. We'll obviously have the charity work that I like doing. We do Fortnite Fridays as well with Shovel and Infinite Drift 2, and you know, lots of standalone projects and streams. We're doing a drag stream tomorrow with Steph from Sims, which is really fun as well. So lots of different activities and stuff, but I'm mainly Twitch focused. So if you want to come check me out on there, please do. I hate shouting myself out. I feel so weird about it, but
you just spent 2 hours talking about yourself. This is the least hard part.
I did spend 2 hours talking about myself. I kind of did. Whatever, it's fine.
Well, no, you have been an incredible guest, and this is I
Thank you
love
so much.
talking to people, especially when they talk back, and this has been great. So thank you so much.
Well, I'm so glad. I hope it all goes well, and obviously I'm excited to do the football event on the 1st of June as well. So also please do join into that, because both myself and Orbitzz here will be doing that together and working together on that. So please do tune into that. It'll be awesome.
It'll be great to meet you in person as well, because you was at the football game last year, sorry, and I didn't actually get to meet you, sadly. So
anyway, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time.
No worries. With that being said, this has been Inside MC. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe. Don't eat too much bread. Pieces.